drive the ball through the air because the type of pitcher he was just throwing sliders, and fastballs. So get under the ball, hit through the ball. Try to hit it in the air. Obviously didn't hit in the air and missed it a little bit, but hit it hard enough to where it got through the infield. But yeah, just hit the ball hard and hit in there. That was my main focus for that event.
Garrett Crochet added 2 runs over 5 innings, or allowed 2 runs over 5 innings in his soccer regular season debut. The teams will play again tonight. Tanner Houck opposes Jack Leiter. At the NCAA men's basketball tournament, the favorites continue to win. Top-seeded Duke got 30 points from Cooper Flagg. They ran by Arizona 100-93. They advanced to the Elite Eight to play second-seeded Alabama, who had no trouble with BYU, 113-88. Out west, Texas Tech was down 16 in the second half, but they rallied to beat the 10-seed Arkansas 85-83 in overtime. They'll play top-seeded Florida. They beat Maryland 87-71. Both the Celtics and Bruins are off until tomorrow night. The Green have won 7 straight. They visit San Antonio. Bruins have lost 7 in a row. They'll try their luck in Detroit. And at the NCAA men's hockey tournament, BU scored 5 unanswered goals in the third period for an 8-3 win over Ohio State and a spot in the quarterfinals. UMass upset Minnesota 5-4 in overtime to advance as well. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
This is Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown turns the corner. Finger roll is up and good. Scoring the foul.
Listen to home of the Boston Celtics, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Toucher.
When has that been necessary to fact check?
And Hardy.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
On 98.5.
No! Hello! Hey there.
Sarge GPT loading up.
Let me hear you say, "Bo, bo, bo."
Crush me, mommy.
Say my name.
I'm a robot.
I'm the son of the Pope.
I'm a goddamn drag.
Yeah, good luck, dude.
Nothing like a good tushy.
I love you. And I think you know that.
Excuse me?
Toucher and Hardy.
Watch Daddy and Uncle Freddie.
Knocking back some fun. Having some fun.
On 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Let's go.
In the house, Sam said it. I don't think I'll ever love a team more.
Hey, good morning. We are Toucher and Hardy, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. You can know that we're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. And you can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. You're playing Danny Hurley. Tim McCone, I guess, went to UConn.
Yeah.
And Blind Scott, in one of his 400 emails, said that he was very passionate about Hurley. Not enough for me to ask Ryan to get the audio.
No, and I was thinking about it yesterday, and then someone else tried to, or did alert me to it. It's like, hey, you should hear Tim McCone defending Hurley today. I'm like, yeah, he's an alum. What do you think he's going to do?
If I was an alumni, I wouldn't defend him. There's a certain point where you gotta. I was thinking about it this morning too. Like, you have to. Part of life is failure and growing from failure, and you're going to lose. There's in everyone's life, and what is ultimately the one truth in life is that you are going to die, that you are going to lose important things to you. Yeah, it's true. Believe it. I mean, we could live to 150 now if you take the right macros. But I'm gonna have to take you through. It's gonna be a year-long process to get you get you there. I'm gonna have to really embed myself.
A lot of monthly subscriptions.
Yep. A lot of podcasts.
A lot of podcasts.
You're gonna have to listen to a lot of podcasts, and you're gonna have to invest in a cold plunge.
And a lot of supplements.
Well, yeah, macros. I mean, how else are you gonna get your macros? You moron?
I don't even know what a macro is. What's a macro?
Don't worry. We'll start in preschool, and we'll get you your doctorate.
Wallach?
I have no idea.
Macronutrients?
Sorry. Can't help you.
All right. So, but if you're going to live your life in any kind of productive, healthy manner, to not be miserable. Like the number one lesson in all of religion is basically to let go of control a little bit, to realize that there are, you're not alone. You're not, you as an individual are not the only thing in the universe, that, you have to be able to basically, for lack of a better term, like roll with the punches a little bit. So what Danny Hurley is doing is really the antithesis of living a good life. And it's not just for him. He's doing it. He's doing it to his players. So like that's why I would never let my kid play for him. First of all, he thinks he's the center of the universe, and that's because he's got his soldier, in quotations, his little baby Huey press guy, going up and saying he has the power to ruin people's lives, which is absolutely ludicrous. And then he admits he can't handle losing. And if anyone looks at that like, wow, what a tremendous competitor. Well, sure, I guess he won 2 national championships, but that's a recipe to just be miserable your entire life, because no matter what you do, no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you plan, you are going to lose things that are important to you. Lose jobs, lose games, lose people. There's nothing you can do about it. And to learn to let go and to learn to be non-attached is really kind of important.
It's weird watching him coach and watching him deal with the media. I get the feeling that every day is like a mammoth fist fight for him, just to get from one end of the day to the next. And the location of the campus, stores, Connecticut, it's off in the middle of nowhere. It is very easy to become insulated from the rest of the world and build out your own empire. But at the same time, it's more of a personality quirk. Like Jim Calhoun was a wildly successful coach at UConn, won a national championship, spent a lot of time on a campus. He wasn't like this. It's specifically to Danny Hurley and the way he lives his life.
So there's getting the most out of your players. And even if your strategy was to ride the players all year, once it's over and you've lost, which is going to happen, 99% of your seasons, if you're lucky, you lose, the season ends with a loss. I mean, you're not going to win a national championship, vast majority of years. That's the time to be like, let's put this in perspective. Let's enjoy. We enjoyed the journey. Like you guys worked hard. You lost to arguably the best team in the tournament by 2 points. You don't start breaking down like a maniac. Like that's when perspective comes in. Because even if you're riding guys all year and you're yelling at officials during games and you're pointing at your fingers leaving the court, ultimately, when that last game's over, is the time for perspective. Now, if you want to wax poetic and romantically about your seniors and the kids that have been with you, and that gets you emotional, that's different than crying like a loser about losing a game. You can't do that.
Okay, so getting way down the rabbit hole, but because this all started with McBone, who was trying to defend it yesterday, and I've been corrected by no less than 5 people already. Not a UConn alum.
Oh, I thought
just a fan.
Oh, Jesus. Really?
But
boy.
Let's say, for the sake of argument, Fred, that he were an alum. You say, well, if I were an alum, I wouldn't defend him. I think that makes you the abnormal one. I think most people normally would want to, if they were a true fan of a team and maybe even the coach, you're going to stick up for him a little bit if everyone's making fun of the guy at the same time. But as it turns out, McCone didn't even go to you.
Yeah, well, that's sad. Wow. I assumed he went there. If I at my age, no, I wouldn't defend it. I'd be.
Yeah, but you're like 20 years older than McCone.
Yeah, and I wouldn't defend. Is McCone 30?
I think he's older than that.
Well, whatever. Say it's 15. Yeah, like I would. I'm not a child. I mean, realize I'm willing to give someone the benefit of the doubt, especially if they're doing something that I want to have a positive result. But I'm telling you, I wouldn't let my kid play for Danny Hurley. I wouldn't. I know for a fact I wouldn't.
How many coaches in America, what percentage act like that?
Cry after a loss?
Or just
because that's what I'm focusing on.
Okay.
Cry after a loss. A loss, not just because you lost the game, not because like your seniors are leaving.
Right.
None. No one else. And maybe you could pick out a guy here or there. I'm sure it's happened before, but like I don't recall Vince Lombardi or Bear Bryant, and those guys were dicks, crying after they lost. Woody Hayes would hit you in the face, but he didn't cry after loss. Bo Schembech wouldn't sit there crying after losses. Bill Belichick acted like a dick, but he didn't cry.
Woody Hayes may have cried out of pain from a torn rotator cuff after he tried to clothesline an opposing player, but other than that.
Was Woody Hayes watch Woody Hayes clothesline the player on the sideline? Woody Hayes is about 80 and not a big man. That guy could have ruined him.
That guy, I'd have to go back and double check just to make sure, but I don't think he affected the lad all that much.
No, he didn't. It was more of just the total loss of control. Did you see?
And it was kind of like the surprise of the player. Like, did you just do that?
Well, did you see the old man that came back to coach the girls' high school basketball team? So, somewhere I don't remember where it is, but it happened this year. There was this like legendary basketball coach, and it was this story that was this big public industry story because he'd had all this success. He had been away for like 10 years. His wife got terminal cancer, and he was like 80, 81. And he came back to coach this this girls' team in high school. And he took them to the state finals, and they lost. And people were kind of like, oh, wow, this guy's like kind of like old school. Well, the next year he took them to the state finals. And one of the girls is crying after the game, and he goes up behind her and he yanks her by the ponytail to get her back in line. And so then the head of the school district's like, yeah, well, he's not with us anymore. Like, he's not.
Yeah.
So the guy, like, just lost his mind because he was, like, 81. He had been this big public interest story, but then he couldn't handle it. Like, he was, like, completely out of his mind. He, like, berating these girls. This is high school, and then he pulls this girl's ponytail to get her back in line.
Albany.
Yeah.
Albany.
Yeah, 81 years old.
Yeah, so it was this big story.
It was his own niece that, separated.
Oh, was that his niece that yelled at him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because that's I imagine the only one that's like, had some kind of like blood relation to the guy who felt like, all right, maybe she wasn't in mortal danger.
Yeah, because what Hardy's referring to is this guy like yanks this girl's ponytail. The game's over. He like yanks this girl's ponytail, and this other girl on the team like gets between him and the girl whose ponytail he yanked and starts like pointing at him in the chest and like,
don't do
like,
that.
Like standing up to him. Oh, that's interesting that it was a relative. Yeah, she probably knew he had lost his mind. But it was like a sweet story. This guy, like, he was going through this, terrible loss, so he got back into coaching and he just like lost it. So that's kind of an example of it.
Yeah.
Of a Danny Hurley. Like someone who emotionally can't.
Danny Hurley, at the age of 81, still trying to coach.
Well, look, man, Danny Hurley didn't stand a chance. I mean, Danny Hurley that got that father of his. I can only imagine the dynamic in that house with that hard ass dad basketball coach, like making them play basketball and making them. That's not a recipe for a calm, happy life. Yes,
I think if you were talking about the dynamic between older fans and younger fans defending this guy to the hilt. But if you're older, you look at him. I would imagine it's the same with Indiana people with Knight later on in life. That, you know what? He just wins. He's messed up. He's screwed up. He's a raving lunatic, but he wins, and we're happy about that.
Well,
kind of thing.
until they couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a breaking point, I would imagine, with Hurley sometime down the road. But it's that night kind of track. You're just like, all right.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think times changed and night, much like, and look, Belichick wasn't like night. But, like, you know how Belichick became, like, more of an a-hole?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the more success he had? I believe Knight was kind of on that track, too. Like, he became more emboldened as, like, time went on.
As a coach, you can't suck and be an a-hole.
Right.
You know, you can't you can't be both. You can be like a little, bitter after a win, after a streak, but if, you consistently are not good at it, you won't be around long enough, but you also can't be a jerk on top of it.
And the thing that brought Knight down was one of his players finally spoke out. It's like he put his hand around my throat in practice or something like that, and that's what kind of put a light on
rolling.
What put a light on how public officials were scared of him in the area and how much he owned the city, and people were like, oh, we got to get the power back.
Remember Bobby Knight coached the 84 Olympic team, and like, so even like in 84 he at least had his S together enough to like handle that group.
Yep.
And he actually, Bobby Knight could be like fairly charming, and that's what Goodman was saying about Hurley, is that I'm sure Hurley, has a large portion of his life where he's, a fairly agreeable person. But, so did Ted Bundy. All I'm saying is that I wouldn't want my kids to be under the tutelage of a guy that can't handle any kind of failure, that can't handle, because what you have to be by failure is you have to, it's cliche, but you have to dust yourself off and improve. That's to use that as a lesson. Don't get better unless you lose. You don't get better unless you fail. These are opportunities.
You just mentioned Ted Bundy, Fred. There was something the other night that I saw. It's like some movie or a book about a woman who worked next to Ted Bundy for years. Have you read this one?
No.
I got to find the name of it, but I think they worked at a call center together. It may have been like something like almost like a suicide prevention hotline or something. Oh, no one knows the name of this book?
No.
It was like propped up as like, oh, this is like the most chilling, like, it's not quite true crime, but like, first person narrative of something having to do with a serial killer you'll ever read, because this woman like sat next to and worked alongside Ted Bundy for a while and had no idea. Yeah. Or maybe she did a little bit, and that's what's in the book. I don't know. Do you know
The
it?
Stranger Beside Me is what Ryan is saying.
Stranger.
He's looked it up.
Okay. Book?
Yes.
Movie? What is it?
Book.
That's all right. Reading
Okay.
assignment.
All right.
Fred wanted someone else to read the
the
Peter Wolf book.
By,
I want someone else to read The Stranger Beside Me for me, and let me know if I should read it.
Ted Bundy picked up a hitchhiker by the name of Deborah Harry.
Yes.
Mike, go ahead.
Fred, you brought up a great point about Hurley's dad and what kind of complex that must have created. And remember, his brother, one of the greatest college basketball players of all time, he had to sit there and watch that.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. You can't imagine what that caused in his brain and brought him to where he is now.
Yeah, it's like that the robbing Peter to pay Paul of like that ultra competitive family, right? Like you might get these short-term successes, but the psychic pain that goes along with that is a hell of a price to pay. Yes. It's like the Harbaughs. Yeah, like the Harbaughs. I think the Harbaugh's dad might have been a little bit more together.
Yeah, John seems like a real normal guy.
Well, yeah, but John really got abused.
By Jim, yes, I've read that.
Yeah, and the parents kind of let that slide.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like, I think John is the more long-term successful coach. Now, Jim's a good coach.
Jim is very
up and down, though.
Very, very up and down.
I think maybe the lessons John learned taking the abuse from Jim like allows him to be a little more even-keeled, because you don't keep a job in the NFL that long working with professional athletes if you don't have the ability to be a little even-keeled.
Yeah.
especially when you're not winning 6 Super Bowls and stuff. Like, obviously, he's doing something that is, establishing himself in that culture and creating a culture. John, go ahead.
Yeah, so when Danny Hurley was at Seton Hall in the 90s, I remember seeing on ESPN where he had locked himself in his room for 4 or 5 days in a row, wouldn't talk to anybody. He's been a nut job his entire life.
You see, it's interesting. One of the coaches in Bryant's conference, Lavelle Sanders, I talked to him, and I asked him about Danny Hurley. He loves him. All of his teammates loved him. It's really weird.
Yeah, because
that may not have happened, but the locking himself in his room, whatever, that may or may not have happened. But all of his teammates, he still keeps in touch with them. They all think he's completely normal. It's weird.
I don't know if they think he's completely normal, but I would like the guy that locked himself in his room for 4 days. I absolutely would. It'd make me feel like the most normal guy on the planet. If you got a friend,
longest I ever went was 2, and that's just
Yeah, that's because just you couldn't sleep.
Well,
extenuating.
there were people outside. I could hear them.
You could hear them in the trees. There was a SWAT team.
They stopped banging on the door
just
after a
because
while.
I couldn't see them through the peephole.
Yeah.
I know they were there.
That's funny.
It wasn't funny at the time. It's really not. Glad you're enjoying it. I don't really find it that funny now myself, but I welcome all of you to enjoy.
Well, there's a story in Slash's book where he was in Hawaii trying to kick cocaine, and he had envisioned actual aliens that were on the premises of the resort, and was found running nude and institutionalized.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll be back. We'll start with the NCAA tournament because a lot of people might not have seen those late games. We'll give you the scores of those and what happened in just a moment.
Stay tuned.
is the show for you. Toucher and Hardy, the Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. Yesterday was opening day, but since these games happened last night, late, maybe you don't know the outcomes. So, Hardy, what happened with the NCAA tournament?
I will tell you. We will begin in the West. Texas Tech took on Arkansas last night. It was a 3-seed, 10-seed matchup. We've talked about the seeding quite a bit here, as there were more than one or two analysts who predicted a lot of chalk for this tournament. Lots of 1s and 2 seeds. So the fact that you got a 3-10 in the Sweet 16 here, whoa, okay. A couple of Cinderella stories going at it. I'm not going to spoil things for you because it looked like there may have been an upset in the works.
Anderson backs up near midcourt. Anderson driving right, goes behind his back, step back, leans in, finds Williams. Right slot 3 on the way. It's good! He tied the game!
Whoops.
Williams tied it up! 9.7 to go.
That's Darian Williams there for Texas Tech, who at one point trailed by how many, John Wallach?
They were down 13 with under 5 minutes left.
So your top, not top seeded, but your 3-seeded Texas Tech had some digging out to do, and they were able to force overtime. So in overtime, would they continue the getting back to the winning ways trend?
Hawkins will give it to Toppin. Now back to Hawkins. 1:45 to go. Toppin dribbling left, fakes right, turns left again, turns right, flips it up and in.
You know, Fred is a mouth-breathing lunatic. That's what that guy sounds like. Fred Toucher is a mouth-breathing lunatic.
He sounds like Kyle Bailey.
He does sound like Kyle Bailey.
Arkansas watching it slowly, not slip away, erode away their lead. Now gone, overtime ending, and
3 seconds left. Wagner driving right, behind his back, launches a 20-footer for the tie. No! It's over! Texas Tech has won! Texas Tech is going to the Elite Eight! The Red Raiders back from the dead!
I don't like Texas Tech because it's all transfers. Yeah. What conference is Texas Tech in?
Are they in the Big 12?
Are they in the Big 12, or are they another one of those teams that went into the SEC?
You know what? After the last 5 years, I'm really not sure.
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Big 12.
Okay,
Yeah.
They are the Big 12. So good. At least an SEC team didn't make it because they had. Well, they have 11 teams in the field of 64.
SEC. Sorry, 14. I think it was 14.
14 teams.
Yeah.
So they will go on to face Florida, who did not have much of a problem taking care of Maryland.
Did Maryland's coach cry because he's leaving to go to Villanova?
Not that I saw.
Yeah, he's glad it's over because now he can go to Villanova and have his fun.
Yeah.
87-71. They've spread the ball around. I mean, they had 6 players score in double figures and no real standout, as opposed to Maryland, who Derek Queen for the Terrapins scored 27 in the loss. Once again, 87-71. So the number 1 seed Gators defeat number 4 seed Maryland. How about Duke last night? Anybody watch Duke?
No, I watched one game, but it was the one we haven't done yet.
Which one did you watch?
Well, I just watched Alabama, BYU.
Oh.
Everyone had picked BYU, and I've never seen a team play as well as Alabama did last night.
Let's go to Alabama.
Offensively,
really,
that is to do what they did last night is remarkable in a tournament game.
Well,
crap.
what they did defensively too is that they forced BYU to not shoot threes. They played BYU like you should play the Celtics. They made them score in the paint. They didn't allow them to shoot threes. They said, "Go ahead, make twos," and then Alabama didn't miss.
Yeah,
like for the first half, they didn't miss. They were taking NBA threes to logo threes.
I picked up that game you're talking about. I picked it up at halftime, and I saw Alabama with over 50 points. I'm like, oh my god!
Yeah, it was like an NBA score.
Pass to the outside, stolen by Sears. Here comes alley-oop. Amori makes the catch, throws back to Sears. Wide on another 3. There you go. 23 made three-pointers. The NCAA record continues to grow. Mark Sears has 10 of them.
Yeah, they set the record with around 8 minutes to go in the second half. They set the NCAA tournament record for three-pointers in a game.
You call that a good shooting night?
Yeah, it was the Sears kid in the first half. He was 10 for 16 from three, and in the first half he couldn't miss. He just was shooting from everywhere, and he couldn't miss. If you're BYU, like, what are you gonna do? And BYU didn't play bad. It's just Alabama couldn't miss. It's just they got on a heater, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's the tournament. That's why when you're playing a one game, one and done, a team shoots like that, you're screwed, no matter who you are.
The thing I kept thinking about watching BYU, and I agree with you, I was watching that game in the second half, and it doesn't matter what BYU does. They have no chance to beat this team. BYU made the Sweet 16, and they get the top recruit in the country next year, which is pretty good.
Yeah, but we've talked to guys about this. They have like this surprising amount of NIL money.
And that's the thing. There's the kid who Dan Roach has talked to, AJ DeBonza.
He's been in here, but not on our station.
No, on the station down the hall. AJ DeBonza, a local kid, goes to prep school out in Utah. He's going to BYU next year. He joins the Sweet 16 team. So this is not the last we're going to see of that team.
No.
They lost last night.
I mean, they scored 88 points in the loss. It was 113-88 the final.
Rutgers has the second and fourth pick in the draft, and they didn't make the tournament.
That's
so let's slow down a little bit.
That's true. That's true.
All to face the winner of Duke and Arizona. So what was going on in that Duke game?
Flag with the ball coming around a screen. It's Proctor up on top. Proctor throws back behind to Flag. They go far corner. Three-pointer is good. Sion James from the left side buries a three.
All right, so Sion James scoring there. The ball went through Cooper Flag. Did Cooper Flag score last night?
Duke got it. They've got 3 seconds. Flag, deep three ball. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And a show of emotion from the best player in America. Cooper Flag just hit from long range right before halftime.
Tie game. Duke gets back-to-back threes, including that long one from Flag. All of a sudden, Arizona's down 6 at the half. They never got closer than 5.
Yeah, they would slowly increase that lead. It ended up being a little closer at the end, but the issue is not in doubt.
And that's going to do it. The Duke Blue Devils survive and advance. They reach the Elite Eight for the 25th time in school history. Finally surviving a gritty Arizona team, 100-93 here in Newark tonight, behind another gorgeous performance from Cooper Flag.
It was gorgeous. The coach for Duke said Cooper Flag, that game was the best that he's ever coached. The best the kid's ever played in a game that he's coached or been a part of.
John Shire.
Thank you, John.
Yes. Just in case you were wondering.
That was necessary.
Yep.
Because the audience was all saying,
"Come on,
Fred, just say John Shire."
Who's the coach?
Don't do that.
There's that
Just
question.
say-
He was out
just
there.
say John Shire.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't do it?
No, he's talking to me.
No, I'm talking to you.
Oh,
Be
wow.
nice to Wallach. It's Friday.
Well, you don't think him one-upping me and trying to shove it in my face?
That's exactly what I was doing.
What happened last
he
night?
put that name in your face. What you gonna do with it?
I'm going to sell it.
Oh.
What happened last night is brought to you by Leonard Hair Transplant Associates, where your hair doesn't have to be a game. What happened? So change your lettuce and change your life with Dr. Matthew Lepresti at 1-800-GET-HAIR.
Cooper Flag, 30 points last night in the win for Duke. Con Knuppel, who we have Jeff Goodman to thank. Knipple. Well, see, I was going to say.
he put that in your face.
Well, and no. What
are you going to do with it?
No, I'm glad he did, because I was going to say we have Jeff Goodman to thank for instructing us months ago how to pronounce his name, but then I just screwed it up again. Con Knuppel with 20 last night as the Blue Devils, the most popular overall pick in brackets to win it all, advances to the Elite Eight, as we heard, for 25th time, which is, I believe, is the third most of any school. North Carolina's been there more, and there was. What was the other one? We did this. Didn't Fred do the quiz us on this last week?
I don't know.
Somebody did.
Wait, what's the question?
Most Elite Eight appearances by a school. I believe Duke is now third because that puts
Well, I would imagine UCLA or North Carolina is
North
one.
Carolina. I think
UCLA with all those wooden appearances. Yeah, that's probably.
But I don't know. I wasn't the one who asked it. That doesn't sound like something I do. That sounds more like a Dan Roach situation.
Well, it sounds like something you would do and then berate us for not being able to come up with, like the second or third one. Come on, you don't
come
know.
on.
Come on, John. You should Wallach.
John.
Sometimes I'll ask something, and then John is supposed to be. He's labeled himself the sports expert, and it will be such a.
You did do that.
It will be such a. Well, you haven't been around the whole time.
I have a card.
John came in here as like the big sports expert, and it will be something that is pretty remedial knowledge, and I'll get very upset at him.
Yes, John.
Yes, I'll get very upset. There's no question.
That's right.
If I know it, John should know it. That's the way I look at things. If I know the information, and it's almost a compliment to John. If someone as lowly as I, with as little knowledge as I, knows something, then John should certainly know it. Just like he knows Shire.
Mm-hmm.
Coach of Duke. You mean Shire. That's who I mean, yep.
So there you go.
Mad Dog doesn't always know everyone's name.
Uh,
the kid from Mississippi
gets names wrong all the time. Very popular guy. Yeah.
Florida, Texas Tech.
Just shows he's talking, man.
Yeah,
he's not. He doesn't got a bunch of notes in front of him.
Alabama all advancing tonight. Michigan State takes on Ole Miss, a 2-6 matchup to face the winner of the number one seed, Auburn and Michigan.
Yeah, Auburn's going to beat Michigan. Michigan's not good, and Michigan State's going to win fairly easily tonight. Michigan's going to beat Auburn, and then they're going to get absolutely destroyed by Florida. And that is what's going to happen.
Are you feeling confident about tonight?
Yes, confident about tonight. I do not feel as confident about them facing Auburn.
When they got Auburn in that draw, I went, ooh, because that's the team that I'd want to play in the Elite Eight. Yeah, that's the team I'd want to play in the Elite Eight. I think they're the weakest number one seed now, even though they might have gone in as the number one overall seed.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want to play Florida.
No.
I certainly wouldn't want to play Duke.
Houston is
a
just beast, and very quietly too. No one's talking about them.
They're just so good defensively.
Yes.
And so I think that could really screw Michigan State up. But I think Michigan State's a better coach, certainly a better coach team than Auburn. Is way better than Bruce Pearl, and Auburn struggled getting into the tournament. And I saw them play. I saw them lose to Alabama. They didn't play well in that game. They stumbled at the end. I like I told you, I saw Michigan State in November. I never do. I don't know if I've ever done this since we've been on the air. But I saw Michigan State very early in the season. I went, oh wow, they're going to make the Final Four. I guess I thought they could make the Final Four. And the more the season went on, I go, let's see the draw, because they're not as good as Duke and they're not as good as Florida. And I don't like them against Houston. I don't think Houston's like in terms of talent, like so much better than them. But I think that Houston's better than them. I don't think Auburn is.
I haven't watched a ton of Houston. I don't know what their interior defense is like, but that's the only defense you have to play against Michigan State. And that poor team that Houston played in the first round, the SIU Edwardsville, held them to 40 points in the opening game.
They're super, super, super aggressive defensively, and they can cause like a lot of problems. And
also Kentucky, Tennessee tonight, by the way.
The thing I guess against Houston is that because they run so much, I don't know. But anyway, I'd rather play Auburn. I think they'd beat Auburn. I do think that they'll win tonight fairly easily.
Yeah.
I think that will be a game that by about 8:45 you'll be fairly comfortable in.
All right. So there we go. As you mentioned, to start all this, 17 Major League Baseball games yesterday, including your local 9, Boston Red Sox. We'll find out what happened with them.
All right. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Red Sox beat the Texas Rangers yesterday 5-2. Wilyer Abreu, a big day. A pair of homers, including a 3-run shot in the top of the ninth inning. He drove in 4 runs in the win. Garrett Crochet went 5 innings, allowed 2 runs in his first ever regular season start for his new team. Sox and Rangers back at it again tonight. Sweet 16 of the NCAA men's basketball tournament began last night. Duke beat Arizona 100-93. They'll play Alabama, who beat BYU 113-88. Florida beat Maryland 87-71. Next up for the Gators, Texas Tech, who outlasted Arkansas 85-83 in overtime. And the Celtics and Bruins are both off until tomorrow night. The Green will visit San Antonio. The Bruins will be in Detroit. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
More Toucher and Hardy on the way on the Sports Hub.
Safety Insurance is committed to working with independent agents that will listen.
vagina looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. And Hardy, you mentioned, as we were brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, make every moment more with FanDuel, that the MLB is back, baby. Opening day here in the USA.
That's right.
How much baseball you guys watch yesterday?
A lot.
I watched a lot of Red Sox yesterday.
I watched the Pirates. I watched the Cardinals. I watched some of the Red Sox.
Nolan Arenado, big home run.
No, but did you see the Cruz kid that they put in center field? Play of the day, baby. Look at those Cardinals. You can't get Helsley now. He saved it last night. Good luck getting him at the trade deadline.
Don't need him. Don't need. You see the Red Sox? We got a closer. You're fine. We're fine.
We got multiple closers. Don't you worry about it.
Damn right we do.
Don't do it by committee.
We got a setup man and we got a closer. We got everything we need. Sox open up in Texas against the Rangers. The home squad got on the board first in the second inning. Red Sox would answer in the third.
And in play to short. Smith into second one. The turn, not in time as the run comes in to score. Abreu touching home plate. Red Sox make it 1-1. And say not just too quick up that line.
Did you say Abreu? Did Wilyer Abreu score there in the third inning for the Red Sox? Oh,
he was the talk of camp.
Remember that name after the Rangers retook the lead in the fourth. Who do you think steps up to the plate?
Ding dong, ding dong. You don't have to stop that.
No, you keep playing.
You keep playing.
All right. I'll set you up again though. Rangers retook the lead in the fourth inning, and then Wilyer Abreu steps up to the plate.
High fly ball.
Oh, look it out! Get the sun out of your eyes, or you're gonna lose your eye socket. Abreu just hit 1 yard. Ding dong, opening. Dunkity-doo, homeroo.
Gonna lose your eye socket? How you gonna lose your eye socket?
Well, the ball hits you in the stands.
No,
if you're not paying attention and you lose your eye socket.
The socket would still be there, though.
No. It smashes apart and then your eye sags.
Oh, so yeah, it's just a total orbital bone fracture.
Yeah, that happened to me.
And they take you got plates or anything?
Yeah, metal, baby.
Do you really?
I do. Wow. Yeah, we can look at an X-ray of my face.
I like the Dunkity-Doo homeroo. That's gonna stick. I want.
I didn't write that down.
O'Brien, I know that. I want Dave O'Brien to call it that way.
I'm not done yet. Don't lie.
All right, good.
Wow, because Abreu was not done yet. As the game was tied at 2. This is something else, boy. 9th inning, top 9. What's going to happen?
Fly ball.
Oh, I hope you brought a mitt so you don't hurt your hand, because this one is a souvenir for the lucky fatso in row 3.
The 3-run shot.
Put down the popcorn, fatty, and catch the ball.
With 2 men on, Wilyer Abreu homered again in the 9th inning. 5-2 would end up being your final. Very good, Fred.
Yeah, look forward to that 161 more times, not counting the playoffs. As long as someone goes yard, I'm here to call it, baby.
Yeah.
Little different from Alex Cora, who had promised all of us that Aroldis Chapman was going to be his closer. He brought in Chapman in a tie game in the 8th inning to get through the middle of the Texas order.
It's called managing, stupid.
He did that. And then Justin Slayton, the dark horse candidate to take this job.
Bobby Slayton, the controversial dirty comic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Came in to finish the game in the 9th.
He did a Pete Rose Asian hair joke.
Rafaela right there. And the Red Sox take opening day. 5-2
Bobby Slayton.
Here in Texas.
Vegas.
Wilyer Abreu.
Insult comedy.
With a pair of home runs.
Whoa.
The 3-run shot in the 9th inning to seal it.
Seal. Kiss from a rose from a bat.
The Red Sox.
Ooh, the ugly guys with a model home run.
Red Sox are gonna survive because they're gonna go crazy off the bat of Will You Abreu.
Well done.
See?
Yeah,
we just named the 2 Seal songs.
Exactly.
That's all that's left.
Have you
right?
seen the commercial with Seal as a seal?
Yes, I have.
It's very disturbing.
Well, it's also a little like if I'm firing the copywriter, I'm gonna go. Let's try something else. Like I get what you're doing, and it's not cute. Like it's not working. You're going for a Tim and Eric thing, and it's not really happening.
Right. I'm surprised Seal agreed to it because
He's got a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm thinking he agreed to it because he's poor, needs the money.
he was married to Heidi Klum.
Yeah, I'd imagine in all seriousness, he's getting quite a bit of money from Heidi Klum.
I would think so.
I would hope so.
All right. So what's who's getting the ball next for the Red Sox there, John?
Tanner Houck had a real rough spring. We were talking to Tony Maz about him yesterday. He gave up 10 runs in his last spring start. So the question is the arm still good from last year or not? Because he blew through his innings record in his career last year. So he did not have a good spring. We'll see what he is tonight.
It was funny because Ryan sent in Slack the call that Joe Buck made of the first. There was a leadoff home run in the Yankees game, and he's like, a pop fly. And he's like, oh,
yeah,
that's gone. That's right field at Yankee Stadium.
That's so funny.
348 feet. That's a home run in right field. That would have died about 10 yards in front of the bullpen at Fenway.
Like if Joe Castillo got high fly ball and then right field. Oh, it's a home run.
Yeah, I know. That's what a bandbox they play in. I mean,
it wasn't even fly ball. It was like pop.
Pop
to right.
Yeah, he didn't hit it well.
No.
There was it was Austin Wells who leads off on his team. He popped it up.
Popped it up.
He's a right-handed hitter who popped it up to right field, and it wound up in the seats.
Yeah. By a couple of rows. It didn't just squeak over. No, it
wasn't one that the outfielder had to jump for.
No.
He was like, oh, that's gone.
One more thing to mention here, and Fred, maybe you're kind of down with this. End of the Capitals game last night, Alex Ovechkin implored his team to do something.
As best you can tell, Alex Ovechkin gathering all of his teammates, telling them, don't go back to the locker room. That is legend recognizing legend. Look at that, Ray. Alex Ovechkin got the guys out of the tunnel, brought them back on the ice and said, no, we have to go shake hands with Marc-Andre Fleury.
What's that about?
You're tiring after this year, maybe?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Hey, get back here. Shake that man's hand.
Is that Teddy KGB? Is that what that
Pay
was?
that man his money. We beat him straight up.
Don't leave the ice. There's a lady in the locker room. She says I make her pregnant.
No, the Capitals actually lost. 4-2 win for the Wild. But, yeah, Ovechkin made everybody come back out and shake hands with Marc-Andre Fleury.
That's just a flex about how much power he has. All right, we'll be back. Bert Breer will join us. Dunkity-doo, Homer.
Abreu's line drive 3-run homer into the bullpen in right center field snapped a 2-2 tie in the top of the ninth. Alex Cora saw him go 3 for 3 on the day with a pair of homers and 4 RBIs.
We battled. We took our walks. Willie had the big game. Yeah, we struck out a lot. I think that pitch mix by Nate, that was different than what we expected. We kept fighting. Obviously, the 2 big swings, they were huge, but I think the walk before, the stolen base, putting Hammy to run there, and put pressure on the pitcher, probably got a good pitcher hit for Willie just being at first base.
This season opening 4-game series continues tonight. The Sweet 16 of the NCAA men's basketball tournament began last night. Top seeds Duke and Florida won again. The Blue Devils got 30 points from Cooper Flagg. They beat Arizona 100-93. They'll play Alabama, who blew out BYU 113-88. The Gators, meanwhile, beat Maryland 87-71 to reach the Elite Eight. They'll face Texas Tech. They came back from down 16 in the second half to beat Arkansas 85-83 in overtime. Celtics and Bruins both off until tomorrow night, and UMass got a goal in overtime to upset Minnesota 5-4 to advance to the quarterfinals of the NCAA men's hockey tournament. Earlier, BU beat Ohio State 8-3 early this afternoon in Manchester, New Hampshire. Number 1 Boston College faces Bentley. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach, the Boston's home for sports. 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston sports with the 98.5 The Sports Hub app. Download it wherever you get your apps today. Hey, listen, if you've got to go, we understand, but make sure you bring the Sports Hub app with you so you can hear more of Todger and Hardy.
That's what I want on my tombstone.
On the Sports Hub.
And you can say it's an overpay, and you can...
Harry, he asked me last week, and he said, hey, what's the week looking like? I've got some tree work. I could use a hand, so I'm going to go over and do that this afternoon. So that's going to take up most of my time, I think, today. But if there is time, maybe I'll go for a little stroll after that.
Wait, so you're willing to sacrifice the good of the community just to help your dad?
Family first, Fred. Family first.
Ooh, that seems rather selfish.
I believe we've covered this before. When you're doing the tree work with Cliffy, he operates the heavy equipment.
Oh, yeah.
The chainsaw.
Yeah, he's the professional, not me. I'm not touching any of that stuff.
I mean, you're a grown ass man. You are past the midpoint of your life, most likely.
I'll use a hatchet. I'll use a handsaw, but yeah, I don't have any interest in chainsaws.
Yeah.
What's the tree work? Like, what do you get up on a ladder and cut down branches?
That might be it. He just said in general tree work. I don't know if we're taking down limbs or what the situation is, but I'll give you the full report on that.
All right, maybe it's lancing off warts.
Yeah, maybe tree work is a metaphor for something else.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hardy, I'd love to join you at your humble abode in April. I know you said you have some work to do, so you let me know a weekend that I can come down and
I'll let you hold the flashlight for me too.
There you go. See, yeah.
But where will you be walking to pick up trash?
Oh, just the usual spots that I like to go to. But there's also
you don't want to say because you don't want to get a crowd.
Exactly. I actually do have a couple of spots that I don't like to talk about because no one knows about them, and I don't want anybody.
Can you give us a geographical area?
Yeah, it's all in like the Woburn, Lexington, Waltham kind of general area.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some little spots in there. So.
And you think that some people haven't discovered them?
There's one that I know that most people haven't. So I like to.
It's a little hidden secret.
Yeah. It's a little,
is it a community area?
It is actually. Yes. It's a community area, but it's kind of not well known or kind of forgotten. So
because if you go up to Vermont to some of those people's property, you think it's community area. It's not. You're going to catch a bullet in the lung.
Oh no, they will let you know with their gigantic private property. Do not trespass signs. Don't.
Well,
worry
I'm not
about
even.
that.
I'm not even. Yeah, these are like farmer folks.
Sure.
I've been reading those Bennington College people. They're getting shot walking on people's property. There's a bunch of hicks up there. Hippies and hicks. Quite a terrible, terrible place, that Vermont. Bert Breer skis in Vermont.
I do.
And he's the he's the kind of guy that the hicks they resent coming up there.
I've been on the wrong side of a few of those. Like, I feel like we're living in the North End. The older people, the older Italian people hated the yuppies coming in there. I lived there for 5 years. I mean, even like the town I live in now, like there's the older crowd versus the younger families. So I've been on the wrong side of a few of those.
But you live far away. What the hell can anyone care about that? Like, what do they wanted?
Everything's a turf war. That's one thing I've learned about. Like, no matter where you live, everything's a turf war.
Well, the North End, I understand. It's like people getting priced out of like generational
But that happens everywhere, though.
Yeah, but not. But the North End's like part of the city. There's like a cultural element to it, like that. I understand. That's like a part of the problems with cities is that like things get I know it's not maybe gentrification, in the
But it
North
happens
End,
in the suburbs too. Like I've seen this. Like it's real.
Okay, but it seems more legitimate in the North End than it would be in
But it happens
wherever the hell you live.
It happens everywhere, though.
And
Well,
especially
it's
in
not legitimate.
And recent,
especially
too.
in a town like Duxbury, which, as I'm sure Albert knows, as he is a citizen of Duxbury, it is named after whose ancestral home?
I mean, one of the Pilgrims.
Yes,
For
Miles
sure.
Standish.
Yeah.
So this town's been there for 400 years, Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes 400 years to get to Boston if you insist on living there
At any time of day.
Yeah, it's a lot. So Bird Breer
Not
is
that far
here.
as the crow flies, though.
Yeah, well, that's all that matters is as the crow flies. There's
Yeah.
nothing more of a tease than putting an address into your phone and it shows you as the crow flies, and then you hit directions.
8 miles, 52 minutes.
No, that's not even what I'm saying. Is when you
It's always the worst thing.
when you
You're
put
on
in
the
the
highway, you see the-
when you put in the original address and then it says like 8 miles, and then you hit directions and it says 22 miles because it shows you as the crow flies.
Sure.
Okay, so now I'm down the rabbit hole of the Duxbury Wikipedia. What classic rock guitarist is the birthplace or home at one
Well,
point?
it's got to be one of these
I have
guys
no
who
idea.
audio asphyxiated himself to death.
Joe Perry of Aerosmith.
Huh.
Who would? You could have
Really?
given me a million guesses and I wouldn't have guessed that.
That's you really?
Juliana Hatfield.
You don't even know
Again,
what
a
that is,
million
dude.
guesses.
I'm
You're
learning a lot of
talking
new
about
things today.
Boston-based musicians from Duxbury.
That's right.
Next thing you're going to tell me is Evan Dando or something of that
I
nature.
know Steve Carell's from Marshfield, which is right next door.
Oh, well.
Or no, he's originally from Concord, but he has a house in Marshfield, something like
Doesn't
that.
he have like a quaint general store or
And then
something?
one of the Fairley brothers lives in Duxbury.
Okay.
Yeah, Mike Sullivan, the coach of the Penguins, lives in Duxbury. There's a few of them.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's not where the Swingers bar is. Restaurant is, though, is it? Where's the Swingers place?
That's Hingham.
Hingham. I've been there. Bird Breer is
you
the
have.
senior NFL. Not to swing. What you
Talking
do
about
is you
the
leave,
Red Oak, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
the
so.
Red Oak, yeah.
What you do is you leave your keys on the bar, as
Yeah.
I've been told, and if you wear like a certain kind of stripe, maybe a striped shirt.
Well, I actually found this out about my hometown. In Sudbury, I heard that and I didn't know this until I was an adult, but in Sudbury, I heard the sign for a swinger was Adirondack chairs in your front yard.
Ah, that's like the upside down pineapple.
Yeah, like not on the porch. Like you have Adirondack
no.
that on the front yard. Like so, like if you're driving by, you see Adirondack chairs in the front yard. That's a green light.
On the grass, yep.
Yeah.
You know, if you have one of these ethnic statues in front, that means that you're racist. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Like one of those jockeys.
Yeah, I understand.
They sell them down in the South. Bird Breer is the senior NFL reporter and lead content strategist for the MMQB. He is here now. You like the Diggs signing, I heard.
Yeah, I do. I think it's it's a worthwhile risk. It's just money, and I do think that there's a nuance to signing him a few days into free agency rather than it being the first thing you did. And I've said this to you guys a few times. Like I think Vrabel and his staff and Elliott and his staff are intentional about what they're trying to build here, in that our first big signing has to represent something. Our first draft pick has to represent something, because people are going to look and see like, okay, this is what they're rewarding. When you sign a guy, a couple weeks into free agency, I think there's a different tenor to it, and it's probably not looked at the same way a Milton Williams signing is looked at. I also don't think Diggs is a bad guy, and I think I detailed this with you guys last week, but I've always really liked him personally. I think where he gets misunderstood, like he is one of the most competitive people in the NFL, period. And competitive to a fault where it's gotten the best of him in a lot of different cases. He's one of these receivers, and we've seen them. I mean, you've seen a million examples of this where he badly wants to win, and he deeply believes the best way for his team to win is to get him the ball. All right. And so, like, that was the problem in the end in Buffalo. That was the problem in the end in Minnesota. And I think that leveled off a little last year in Houston. Like, my understanding is he went in there and he sort of recognized, like, oh, like, Nico Collins is really, really good. And Tank Dell's a really good receiver, too. And, obviously he was, while Diggs was still playing, Tank Dell was still hurt, was still healthy. The question for me that's going to be interesting here is, okay, so Nico Collins was already an established number one receiver who had already been paid, right? Tank Dell had already, I think, had 1,000-yard year as a rookie or close to whatever. He'd already shown a ton of potential. So Diggs was able to subjugate his ego, be good for the young quarterback because he recognized, hey, I've got something really good around me. Now, what does that look like when there's no Nico Collins in the room? And I think that's the thing that the Patriots are probably projecting the most is it going to go back to, I know I'm the best player in the room.
He is, by far.
Right. And if I don't get the ball every 5 or 6 snaps, it's going to be a problem.
Can he be a leader? Can he be a leader with young guys? Can he be a leader with younger guys?
Yes. And it's more like showing them how it's done. Right? It's more like, here's how you work. Here's how you do this. Here's how... like 100% he can be that guy.
But Josh
100%.
Allen certainly was glad he was gone. He's made comments even recently.
I don't think, no,
Bert.
We're like, Steph can be a pain in the ass, was what it was. But I don't think they left. They were on, I mean, like they had a ton of friction, like competitive friction between the two of them. I don't think Josh Allen's made comments, though, has he?
Yes, he's made comments after, and he's like, it was very nice having guys on the team that know just because you don't get the ball doesn't mean that we're not going to have
success. And that's why they got rid of him. I mean, that was honestly, like, that was a huge
So they did have a problem.
Well, the Bills got rid of him because they felt like for Josh Allen to take the next step as a quarterback, he needed to go out and play point guard and be like all 5 receivers alive on every play. And Diggs was preventing him from doing that. In a way, it was sort of like, I mean, you guys remember when the Patriots traded Moss, and it sort of brought this different level out of Brady that year because all of a sudden he's not looking over there every 4 plays.
Right.
And like, oh, hey, is he throwing a fit because he's not getting the ball?
Right.
It's the same sort of thing. Like,
so you're not really selling me on the Diggs thing in that sense, because if May's got now to worry about Diggs throwing a fit because he hasn't gotten the ball 4 plays in a row.
And I think that depends on, like, are you winning? Are you having success offensively? Have the other receivers around him developed? Or are you losing games? Is he not putting up numbers? Like, that's where it's going to be a problem. Like that, like where.
Do you think they're going to win games?
I mean, I think like they can be like a 7-win team now.
Sure. And
I don't know that that's going to be enough for him.
Right.
But I also know that like Diggs has to understand that his career's on this is it for him.
Yeah, but he also just got paid.
Right, he got paid, but like, and we'll see what the contract says.
No, I understand that it's like, not what it is. I get it, but he did get a lot of money for a 31-year-old coming off an ACL. He probably got more money.
I've heard this is like sort of a complicated contract.
Okay,
I haven't seen the full details, so I'm not hiding anything here. I
understand.
I've just heard it's complicated.
Sure.
And I do think like to some degree for Diggs, it's. Well, if you come in here and you're a pain in the ass, like that's probably going to be it for you because he's one of these receivers. That's the other thing about like this type of receiver. Like nobody wanted T.O. as their number 2. You know what I mean? But like Larry Fitzgerald extended his career for what? Another 5 years?
He seemed to play for 25, yeah.
Right. But Larry Fitzgerald could play forever because he was never a pain in the ass. I think that's the crossroads Diggs is at right now. He's not a number 1 anymore, right? So can you extend your career? Can you create new life for your career? That's, I think, the crossroads where Diggs is.
So interesting.
And Diggs showed he could do it
with Houston.
With Houston, but he had Nico Collins with him.
Sure. So, okay, so if you say he's not a number 1 anymore, which is his age and injury history, yeah, he's not a number 1 anymore. So if the Patriots are in a situation where they don't get a receiver in the first round, he is your number one.
Yep.
So where are we at in terms of the Patriots receiving core at that point? Like, would Travis Hunter would be obviously the number one? You would think.
He is their number one, obviously.
Yeah. For them,
right,
ahead of Diggs, but like that magically just isn't going to happen. Like
right.
If that doesn't happen,
this isn't Buffalo acquiring Diggs in 2020, where he can be our number one for the next 5 years.
Right.
Like he's gonna. I mean, his age is his age. He's not going to become more capable in 26 than he was in 25 of being the number one, probably. Right. Like now the knee is going to be healthier and everything else, so there's some moving pieces there. I think like what you're looking for is if you do draft Travis Hunter, because this is a guy who Stephon Diggs is one of Travis Hunter's comps, interestingly enough. So Diggs should be able to help Hunter. And I do think to some degree Diggs will. I think Steph is like a student of the game in a lot of different ways, and I think he'll be able to. I think he would recognize Hunter walking into the room like, I need to help that guy.
Okay.
Because from what I understand, he was very helpful with Nico Collins, who honestly doesn't even really need the help because he was already a number one, and already is he's way, 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 way better than anybody the Patriots have in the room. And I would say Tank Dell is way better than anybody the Patriots
You
have
don't
in the
have
room.
to say. You would say this. I think everyone would agree with you immediately.
Yeah. So Diggs walked into that room and it's like, okay, these aren't sloppies. I'm going to help them. And I think if you had a Hunter in the room, then I think Diggs would very much be like, I'm gonna help this kid become what he can become. And that would be great because Hunter is pretty raw as a receiver.
People are starting to talk very highly of Matthew Golden out of Texas.
Yeah.
Which is
I think he's going to be I think there's a good chance he's the first receiver taken over Tedero McMillan.
Yeah, that's what people are starting to say.
If he has a chance to elevate any of the current receivers, who does just Diggs' presence there and compete level have the best chance of helping?
I'd say Polk. Just because
a lot of room there.
No, but here
All right, listen, we got a break, but suffice it to say, there's receiver room blows. And let's be honest, you can hope Jalen Polk, and maybe Jalen Polk will catch double-digit balls this year. It could be
Demario
something
Douglas.
really else.
Could he help bring Demario Douglas around?
A little pop for your. There you go. All right, let's take a break and let's be back in just a moment. We have Bert Breer for the whole hour. Let's be right back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
When life throws you a curveball.
The Sports Hub.
Shador has told me, he's talked to me intently about all the visits he's had with all the teams, so I know where his heart is. I know where he wants to go. If it's New York, it's New York. If it's Tennessee, if it's Cleveland, if it's still the Raiders, if it's New Orleans, if it's any of those teams that are seeking a quarterback, I'm happy with it, man, because I know what he's going to do to the organization. I know what he's going to do.
You see Ashton Genty's. He was without a shirt on.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that everyone understood he was a chiseled block of granite.
Yeah, he looked like something else.
Yeah, well, I mean, you interview him, and he said, I'm not only the best prospect in the entire draft class, my goal is to be the best player ever to play football. Pretty good statement to start, even if you haven't played it down yet.
I have talked to some teams that view him and it's, I guess the argument is the positional value thing on whether or not you take a running back that high, but some teams regard him in that Carter-Hunter category, just as a player. And again, do you see a running back worthy of the same sort of draft pick you see an edge rusher or a corner receiver?
If he was in the same draft as Johnny Lamb Jones, who went number 1 to the New York Jets, would he be even considered the best player in that draft?
Johnny Lamb Jones is before my time.
Wide receiver.
Yeah. Before my
Small
time.
school. Not a good pro. Number 1 pick in the draft.
Not his fault.
He was a chiseled block of granite.
Yes. Yeah. Block of granite.
Yes.
All right. So, did you guys have anything that you wanted to ask from the last break, or do you want to get into the draft?
No. Once you start talking about receivers, though, and the very real possibility you don't get Travis Hunter, and I would also say the very real possibility that you don't strike gold in the 3rd or 4th round with choosing a wide receiver. If you're left with essentially what you have, are you still thinking like this team could reach that 7-win mark?
You think it's on based on what's available in receiver?
Based on what you have right now, based on Stephon Diggs, Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, Pop Douglas.
I mean, see, it's actually interesting because I look at it I think Abdul Carter might get you there faster than Travis Hunter, just because you can plug Abdul Carter right in.
Yeah.
And if Carter were to somehow fall to you, and I don't think it's going to happen, I think Carter's probably gone probably more likely to be gone than Hunter when you pick. But I think Carter can take you, now all of a sudden, maybe you're a top 10 defense, legitimately, because you've got Gonzalez and Carlton Davis at corner. You'd have Carter and Barmore and Milton Williams up front. You have Robert Spillane coming in to play linebacker. You have outside of just Carter as edge rushers, Harold Landry, Keon White, who's kind of an inside-outside guy. Then I look at it and I'm like, you know what? You can play a certain style then where, maybe you draft another running back in the 2nd or 3rd round because it's a great draft for running backs. And now you can play the sort of game that Mike Vrabel played in Tennessee, where you're leaning on the run game. You're not asking too much of your young quarterback, and you're asking the defense to win the game for you.
A lot of high-scoring games. Very quickly, Johnny Lamb Jones was not the first pick in the draft. He was the 2nd, and the Jets were looking at Anthony Munoz.
What year was that?
1980. The Jets were looking at Anthony Munoz.
The year of my birth.
Okay. The Jets were looking at Anthony Munoz, and the team physician said, don't take Munoz. So they took Johnny Lamb Jones.
Smart.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, they said, why take the best offensive lineman of all time? Take Johnny Lamb Jones.
The offensive lineman who every offensive lineman is now compared to
yes, the best offensive lineman of all time.
There's the stock line is now. I'm not saying he's Anthony Munoz.
Right.
And you could have drafted the actual Anthony
But the team physician said, nah, not so fast.
Well, back in 1980, the team physician was like, I did a bloodletting, and I didn't like what I saw.
The kid doesn't respond to leeching.
Put an ace bandage. That's right. That's up there with the Dolphins doctors rejecting Drew Brees 20 years ago.
Look, they took Marino. They had their luck.
Yeah.
They said, a little coke habit ain't going to get us not to take this kid. Go ahead. What do you got, Johnny?
Will Campbell has been fantastic the last week. He was measured, his arm length was 32 5/8, then it was 32 7/8, and then at his LSU Pro Day, he hit the magic number of 33. What do we believe in?
Well, Alex Barth has a think piece up, and it shows
He's Inspector Gadget.
He said it's about a mid-level band struggling in the harsh spotlight of success.
No, it was about how the now that pro days are happening, the combine has criminally undermeasured arms of offensive linemen.
Okay.
And the point is that at the pro days, it is an NFL, someone from the NFL. It's not someone from the college team measuring the guys. It's someone from the NFL.
Yeah, that is true. They usually
no, it's true. Yeah,
they have an NFL.
I'm not lying to you. Yeah, it's true. But one guy, his arm was an inch longer in the pro days. So he has. It's actually interesting. Barth has this graph of players and how much shorter their arms were in the combine than they were at their pro days.
Okay, so Bert, maybe you know about this. If you're measuring someone's height, that is an agreed upon measurement. Stand there barefoot. We're going to draw a little line on the wall with a pencil, or we're going to do whatever. But when you're measuring arm length, there does seem to be like some ambiguity in terms of where you stop and where you start. Otherwise, how could there be measurements that are off by a half
we're
an
also
inch?
talking about where does
Does that matter? Does that matter to NFL teams?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think it's the Parcells line, which is if you keep making exceptions, you're going to wind up with a team full of them. And so, physical measurements are important things to teams because the way they see it is if you want, all right, so if I make an exception with this one player, then I'm going to have to make then I can't make an exception with the other three players around him. So that one player better be really, really good because if I'm going to make the exception with him, then I'm not going to be able to make the exception with other people.
But the issue is there's been no change in terms of how players' heights and weights have been measured over the years, regardless of who's doing the measuring. With an arm measurement, that gets a little murky.
The bigger problem is we wouldn't be talking about this if this guy was being drafted in the middle of the second round. And not just because you don't talk about second rounders as much as you talk about first rounders. It's because once you get past the first 20 picks of the draft, there are all kinds of cases like this, right? Are you spending the 5th overall pick, the 4th overall pick, the 3rd overall pick on a guy where you have to compromise?
I saw him, by the way, eviscerated by a scout. His film eviscerated Will Campbell.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's that's the part
insinuating he's not good.
So here's the thing: is in the middle of the year, I remember saying to you guys, there are a few tackles. This was probably October. I was it's the good thing is we already know there are some tackles that are going to be in that range, and I named Will Campbell. I think I named Kelvin Banks from Texas, who subsequently went on to get his ass kicked by this guy Jalen Walker, who I've said would be a really good fit for the Patriots, right? So I remember as I kind of kept making phone calls, and I think you usually get the truth in the fall, right? Because that's when these scouts don't have to lie about anything. You will get the truth when you're talking to them in the fall. I remember asking about Will Campbell, and I had no idea about his arm length at the time. And this person who has worked for 4 different teams, who's an executive, all that, was immediately said, I don't think he's a tackle. And I was like, that's weird. Really? He said, I don't think he's a tackle. And it's his arm length is going to be a problem. And he said this without, they'd measured his arms at his junior day, I think, last year. But he's his arm length's going to be a problem. And he said, the reason I say that isn't just because I know what he measured out at. It's because you can see it when he's playing, is that the defensive players are getting into his chest. And that's why you want longer arms as a tackle, because you're keeping the defensive player's hands
Yes.
off of you. It's being able to kind of have range to go outside, but it's also, can I keep like this long arm defensive end from grabbing my chest plate and being able to control?
My first movement is to keep my distance so he can't strike me.
Right.
He can't. What is it? Like he can't chop me. Like
Right.
there's like a
he can't rip. He can't. Like,
Right.
Yeah. And so, and
Hand fighting.
And so like that was, but that was seen as a.
I'll snap. My training, Hardy, and if I see you in my peripheral doing that, it takes all my instincts not to.
It's 7:35, and I see an offensive line
Do you
camp
see
breaking
this?
out over
Do you
here.
see this pencil?
Wow.
He's lucky.
Whoa,
it's
whoa,
not in
whoa,
his
whoa,
eye.
whoa, whoa! I didn't know you had that. It's cool. It's cool.
He's
It's
going to
cool.
stop now.
I can use anything as a weapon.
Anyway, I think it's.
Let me put one of these cans in a socket.
But look, like the fact that it came up then is like, that's why I've said to
Bad
people,
boy,
I'm
yeah.
like, I think you have to be comfortable if you take him. You have to be comfortable with the idea he could wind up becoming Brandon Sheriff. And
I don't know who that is.
And so Brandon Sheriff was the 5th pick in the draft 10 years ago.
Okay.
That Washington took him, and he was a left tackle at Iowa. And really, really great player. Like I think like a 2-time All-American, whatever, at Iowa. But a lot of people said he's a guard. So he winds up competing for the right tackle job. I actually think it was with Morgan Moses at the time in Washington. And after a couple weeks of camp, they moved him inside to guard, and you never heard about him as a tackle ever again. And it was, and he became, and look, he became I think he's made 5 Pro Bowls, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Has made Pro Bowls with 2 different teams. He's a really good player. Nobody would ever say that guy's a bust. But if you're spending the 5th overall pick on a guy, are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
No, I am not.
And that becomes the question.
Well,
it's like, I think that's what you have. That you have to be comfortable with that outcome, because that might wind up being what it is. I don't think that anybody knows yet until he goes up against NFL players if he's going to be a tackle or guard in the NFL. You just have to be comfortable with the idea that he might wind up being a really good guard instead of a left tackle.
So this Membu guy from Missouri is huge, but he's a right tackle.
Yep.
And he might, a lot of people are saying he might be the first offensive lineman taken. Now, it won't be in the top 5, but he'd be the first offensive lineman taken for that very reason, is that you're comfortable at 7, 8, 9 taking a right tackle.
Yep.
A guy that you can pencil in at right tackle, well, you might not be in the top 5. So if you don't believe Will Campbell is a left tackle, then he might play guard. This Membu is huge, but he's not nimble enough to play left tackle. He would play right tackle, and then you got a right tackle.
Yeah, and that's
so
why
that's the thought on him.
That to me is why, if like Hunter and Carter or Carter make it to you, it's like not even a discussion.
Right.
Just take them, because we're talking like blue chip versus red chip, and like that to me is the difference between a blue chip prospect and a red chip prospect. Is a blue chip prospect. Like, your question with Travis Hunter is like, which position is he better at? Your question with Abdul Carter is like, okay, like, so he's this elite athlete who's great in almost every way. Like, how do you use him? Like, those are the questions. You're not asking, like, is Abdul Carter going to be your number 2 pass rusher?
No.
He's not. Like, he's like, in all likelihood, if he lives up to his potential, he's going to be the number 1 pass rusher. You're going to be able to build a defense around him.
I want my left tackle to have played left tackle in college and will continue to play left tackle in the pro. I don't want Isaiah Wynn. I don't want a guy who's going to move inside. I just want a guy to stay there.
And I'm going to say it again. That is why, like, the one player that I think I said this to you guys 2 weeks ago, the one player that I look at and I say, like, if Hunter and Carter are gone, this is the guy that I think, just based on the way that scouts talk about him, has a chance to elevate into that level, is Jalen Walker from Georgia, who I think would be a really good fit for what Vrabel wants to do, who I think has a chance to wreak havoc. I'm just telling you, if you guys go and watch 5 minutes of YouTube on him, you'll see what I mean. He looks a little small out there, but, man, he is all over the place. And that Kelvin Banks from Texas, right, was like a top 10 pick coming into the, like, Jalen Walker decimated his draft stock. Like, he couldn't block him.
Jalen Walker and Matthew Golden, these are 2 guys. Will Campbell is now, according to a lot of people, I don't know anything about these guys, but Will Campbell, according to a lot of people, is going to be a first-round pick just in the teens as a guard. Yeah. So now it's like
Him and Ted McMillan are the
teens.
two.
I mean, or okay, 11th, 12th.
I mean, but that's the thing is, like, I think that you have this big clump of players after Hunter and Carter, though, where it's like Tyler Warren's in that group, Ashton Genty's in that group, Jalen Walker, Will Campbell, Kelvin Banks might be in that group. Tet McMillan, there's some football character questions with him. I think Matthew Golden's got it's just there's so many variables after you get past Carter and Hunter, which I think that plus the potential that Shedeur could slide, like I think is going to give us a lot of trauma on draft night.
All right. Well, yeah, and it's. I'd like to hear what you're hearing about Shedeur Sanders because there's a lot of mixed stuff. I mean, you listen to Mel Kiper. Mel Kiper thinks he should be. He's the second coming. He's like thinks he's Tom Brady. I mean, he really does. He thinks he's partially because he's not a great athlete.
Had
but
him
also,
third in his last mock draft.
Yeah, and then he's talking like he thinks he's going to be a superstar, though.
I think he could go third. I think he could go 33rd.
Yep. So it's going to be interesting. I'd like to talk about what you're hearing about him from the actual personnel people. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headline.
wallet.
What a golden ticket I've gotten.
There you have it. Toucher and Hardy resumes on the Sport.
There would be not a ton to talk about.
Yep.
And there's only like 2 weeks a year we don't even have you in. There's that much football going on nowadays.
It's crazy. Like, yeah, I mean, we got the rules stuff next week in Florida, and you guys are going to hear from Kraft. I think for the first time, I'm assuming he's doing the local media thing, on Monday or Tuesday. So I'm not invited to those anymore.
Oh, really?
No, I'm not local media. So
Interesting.
yeah, but that'll happen next week. So plenty to talk. This is what they wanted. You know what I mean? Like, this is like sort of how they try to set up the calendar.
Yeah, obviously.
Which I've like made my peace with that. I think I said this to you guys. Like, it's better. Like, it sometimes it's a pain in the ass. It kind of sucks that the combine is now like so close to the Super Bowl, and it's sort of like my things don't really slow down for me until after the draft. But I guess it's a lot better that people care than if they don't.
Sure.
So,
all right. So look, and how long is this going to last? This isn't going to be this way forever. I mean, you're lucky enough to live a long life. You're going to see ebbs and flows and things. Like, football is by far number one now. It probably still will be number one when we die, but it's not. It might not be like this. It might not be. It might not dominate.
it's so far.
Right.
I didn't hear anybody talk about opening day yesterday.
Well, I did, but
that was pretty big.
I'll tell you this: horse racing, boxing, and baseball. I mean, you can go back to when your parents were kids, and that was what was dominating.
Baseball was. I don't know. I'm like everybody else my age. I woke up every morning and looked at the baseball standings.
Right, and so
kids don't do that anymore.
Well, yeah, and so it'd be naive to think that football will always be this dominant. The point is that these things, they come in cycles. The NBA, I predict, will not be nearly as popular as it was in 10 years from now. I think that's in an ebb.
I mean, football's like perfect for the ADD generation, though, and like we are an ADD generation. The generations below us are even worse, and I think that it doesn't ask the world of you. Like, it doesn't ask you to sit down every night and watch.
But there will be other. Trust me,
it's gambling friendly. It has so many built-in advantages that have nothing to do. I'm
just saying, boxing has got gambling advantages too, and there's a fight every. History shows that pop trends and sports trends don't last forever.
That's what's funny about like this meeting that I'm going to next week, this annual meeting where they all congratulate each other on a job well done. It has nothing to do with the owners. Like, they have so many built-in advantages, and it has nothing to do with the genius of this or that. Football is football. Like, football is, it's protected by the fact that it's the most popular high school sport. It's by far the most popular college sport. The college version of it is probably the second most popular sport in America right now, behind the NFL.
It is.
And so you have all of these built-in advantages that I think protect it for you could say the foreseeable future.
Certainly, yeah. But I don't think I think it's more probable than not it will not be as popular as it is today by the time, if we're lucky enough to live, 30 more years. I mean, that's just the way things go. Mm-hmm. All right, anyway, I know I was going to ask about Shedeur Sanders, whatever. There's plenty of time for that. I do want to ask about Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
So, first of all, the Vikings.
Very important that you're here for this.
Yeah, it is very important. So, obviously, the Giants aren't getting Rodgers, but that doesn't preclude them from taking a quarterback with the third pick, I would imagine, what they've done.
No, what the Giants have done is basically sunk about $15 million in base pay into two quarterbacks who have a ton of starting experience. Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, at least, I think, raise the floor for where they're at quarterback, turns Tommy DeVito into your third string guy, and now you can either take a quarterback third overall or you can take Carter or Hunter there, which I think you're virtually guaranteed of getting one of those two players if you're the Giants. And maybe you have 5 picks in the top 105. I think for what it does to next year's quarterback class. Now, everybody always says this every year, but next year's quarterback
They didn't
class,
last year.
They didn't last year. Next year's quarterback class looks better. Like
Arch Manning.
We'll see if he comes out. I don't know if he'll come out, but you have Drew Aller from Penn State. You have Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. You have Lenora Sellers from South Carolina. So there are some names of some guys already where you're like, okay, like Garrett Nussmeier might have been the first quarterback taken in this year's class if he had declared. So if you're the Giants and you're Brian Daboll and you're Joe Shane, you may be looking at it and saying, if we can just get to 7 or 8 wins this year and be in the conversation in December, can we hold on to our jobs so we can get to 2026 and then draft our guy then, or find a way to go get our guy then?
Okay. So where's Aaron Rodgers? Is he going to play?
I again, I think his, retirement is still on the table there.
Boy, does he love this.
Yeah. Well, there's the McAfee thing too. You guys know about that?
No.
So McAfee has some big event. I know you love Pat.
You like him?
I'm fine with him.
You think it's a good show?
I mean, I don't really
watch it, so you don't. Okay, go ahead. You don't watch it.
I don't watch a lot.
You don't watch a lot, but if it was good, you'd watch it.
I watch the clips on Twitter. I like that.
Yeah, which is what it's designed for.
I think it's entertaining.
In 30-second doses?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Name another guy on Pat McAfee's show besides A.J. Hawk.
Darius Butler.
Okay, he's not on the show full time.
Boston Connor.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I anyway, Pat's got like a big event. I think it's a week from Tuesday or Wednesday in Pittsburgh, and they're selling tickets to it. It's at the Penguins Arena, and there's plenty of speculation that Aaron Rodgers is going to be introduced as the quarterback of the Steelers that night.
Wow. What is Pat McAfee going to do when Aaron Rodgers ultimately isn't playing football
What a great
anymore?
investment that's been, though.
Oh, no, it's
so
that $1
smart.
million investment has made him is returned itself 100 times. Like that investment. Pat McAfee's really smart businessman. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
He invested in Aaron Rodgers. He got those views up on YouTube. The moronic people that are losing touch in media go YouTube, and then they didn't realize that people were watching Pat McAfee and interested in Pat McAfee because established media was talking about his exclusive interviews with Aaron Rodgers, so they went, ooh.
And all the clips were going viral, and
we want to go viral. And so they get Pat McAfee, but Pat McAfee only goes viral when he talks to Aaron Rodgers. So there's your push.
I mean, he had the LeBron thing this week that I think was
what?
It got a lot of it went
I don't know
viral.
what it is.
LeBron talking about how he's not
Oh,
friends
you didn't
with
see
Michael
that?
Jordan?
Oh,
Is
there's
that the thing?
LeBron and Stephen A. Like the LeBron Stephen A. fight. The LeBron
Well, Stephen A. controls that.
LeBron bagging on Windhorse too. Like
I didn't see it.
Yeah, I didn't see it either.
It was a big deal.
See,
because
Stephen A. Smith is talented and is good at what he does.
Stephen A. was, I like borderline physically threatened LeBron James on the air yesterday.
Good, because he's a great media personality. Pat McAfee is not.
It is amazing how he invited him in to basically how LeBron James just did Stephen A. the biggest favor.
Yes. Yes.
Doesn't like him, but just did him the biggest favor.
Yeah, because he's a complete moron. LeBron James is a moron. He's a very dedicated, incredibly impassioned athlete. Listen, he is pushed himself to play this well at his age. LeBron James is a phenomenon of will and strength. I give him all of that, but he is not an expert in the art of intelligence.
So anyway, I think he probably won. Anyway, I think Rodgers winds up being a Steeler.
Great.
That would be my guess.
And good. And chances, you got 10 seconds.
Burt Blast.
It's my one Burt Blast, and then we got to go. Chances are Tomlin gets fired at the end of the year.
At the end of 2025,
Mm-hmm.
0.
Okay. 40%.
40%.
If he's going to get fired, you know what the atmosphere is in Pittsburgh. Most of that fan base wants him fired. They bring in Aaron Rodgers and they don't
5%.
I can sell you.
Burt Blast.
I can sell you. They don't make the playoffs this year, and Aaron Rodgers blows that thing up. Tomlin's out of there. Tomlin's out. In fact, I'll make it 60%. Boom!
Wow.
Fred Splash. Take that, Bert. What do you know? You only talk to all the people. All right, good. I just sit at my house. All right, Bert, thank you so much. MMQB. Please go to MMQB and let him break his information there. His lazy company won't put his stuff up when he gets it. Don't make him go on Twitter. All right, that'll do it for us with Bert. When we come back, who won the sixth man, the Battle of the Titans yesterday? We'll have that for you in just a moment.
Of the Sports Hub.
Brackets busted. New customers at FanDuel can get $200 in bonus bets when your first five.
Falling down, he goes to the end zone. It's got it! Touchdown!
WBZ-FM and HD Boston. 98.5, the Sports Hub. A Beasley Media Group station. Essential Sports Hub headline. Presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
Wilyer Abreu had a monster afternoon, and he led the Red Sox to a season-opening win in Texas yesterday.
High fly shot deep into the alley. That's way back there. And that ball is gone. It is out of here. Abreu again. And the Red Sox break it open. A 3-run laser beam.
That is Dave O'Brien on NESN. Abreu hit a pair of homers, including that 3-run shot in the top of the ninth inning to snap a 2-2 tie. And as a result, the Red Sox went on to a 5-2 win. Tanner Houck will face the Rangers in Game 2 of the season tonight. The Sweet 16 of the NCAA men's basketball tournament began last night. Top seeds Duke and Florida won again. The Blue Devils got 30 points from Cooper Flagg. They beat Arizona 100-93. They'll play Alabama next. The Crimson Tide blew out BYU 113-88. The Gators beat Maryland 87-71 to reach the Elite Eight. They'll face Texas Tech. They came back from down 16 in the second half to beat Arkansas in overtime 85-83. And UMass got a goal in overtime to upset Minnesota 5-4 to reach the quarterfinals of the NCAA men's hockey tournament. Earlier, BU beat Ohio State 8-3. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, the official oil change of busy people. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
If you've got the app, you've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app, the 98.5 The Sports Hub app.
And now, back to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
I just thought of another one. Go ahead.
Oh, good. So NBC's making Saturday Night Live. They find out about it. ABC finds out about it. It's called, they don't have a name for it yet. So ABC goes, oh, well, we're going to do it. And we're going to hire Bill Murray and Christopher Guest. But our show will be hosted, called Saturday Night Live, and it will be hosted by Howard Cosell. Remember when Fox Sports started?
I was just thinking about this.
And they said,
host?
Yeah, you think these people are smart? So Fox Sports starts, and they go, we are all in, baby. We've built offices in L.A. We got the rights to sports. Here we go. The linchpin, the head of the thing, Regis Philbin.
Didn't they follow that up with Tom Arnold? Was it Tom Arnold part of that?
I don't
too?
know. All I know is that Katie Nolan's job became defending Regis Philbin. I know. And it was, she's like talented, you know, but she was put in this role where she's like, I'm the only talented one, so I got to sit here and defend Regis Philbin. Go ahead.
No, but it's you have an idea, and then everyone tries to run with it. Instead of coming up with another idea, we're just going to go from there. You had mentioned Saturday Night Live. It's like, hey, here was a sketch that people laughed at. Let's make a movie franchise out of it, which has worked, I believe, precisely twice.
Yeah, Wayne's World and
Blues Brothers.
Yeah, but that wasn't even like a Saturday Night Live film. That was, Lorne Michaels didn't have a hand in that. Like, really, Wayne's World was really the first Saturday Night Live movie.
But you take the kernel of an idea and like,
Right.
all right, we're just going to do it again. We're going to do it again, bigger and different. In a different
the Stuart
place.
Smalley movie and Night at the Roxbury
Although
movie.
MacGyver is a very underrated movie, but it didn't do well.
Cult classic. And then they made a Peacock show out of it, so there you go. All right, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. You can watch us on YouTube. Subscribe to 98.5 The Sports Hub. I suppose when I badmouth this many media people, I shouldn't take offense when I'm badmouthed. That just occurred to me.
Or say that at the time of your death, one specific outlet should be blamed for it.
Why not? Awful announcing.
Yeah.
Awful announcing has blood on their hands.
Blind Scott has your back on that. He says he has written them many, many emails, and he told me a couple of days ago he doubts they'll ever mention you again.
Blind Scott, well, I don't want him not to mention me. I just don't think that I wouldn't be comfortable having a job where my job was to get people in trouble and to, like, stoke flames under the guise of being the protectors of humanity, right? Like, can you believe what this guy said? Stoke flame, stoke flame, stoke flame. Well, if you don't like it, then why do you want anyone else to hear it?
Yeah.
Especially if it's not like some Nazi propaganda or something. You know, if it's making fun of someone who's fat or something like that. I mean, Jesus Christ, the person doesn't have to know you did it. Like, if you find it so offensive, don't do it. Like, if someone's really causing damage and, like, you know, causing an uprising against, like, some, you know, minority group or impoverished group, like, I understand that, but Jesus. All right. Anyway, that's not what this is all about.
No, we're here to lift people up, Fred.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sack, sack, sack.
Toucher and Hardy features Fred Toucher with Hardy and Wallach too. Adam 12 and Nick and Ryan. But the most important person is you. Sixth man.
The New Woke Order.
Sixth man.
I'm totally blind, by the way.
Sixth man.
A lot of people are going, ooh, oh.
Sixth man.
6
is a very seductive number.
Wow.
Okay, I'd like this. We're finding, like, the ancillary... Well, you know, he took some of the ancillary characters in our orbit, and I think we were really smart about the way we did it. We started things with the aforementioned Blind Scott and Sarah from Everett. You guys don't know who they are, but they are people that are very involved in emailing and calling and things of that nature. So we started with that. Then we had two superstars on, Al Cole and Guy from Machine. Guy from Machine is obviously going to win this. And Guy from Machine is going to be in on Monday. And he will be in with Robbie Roadsteamer.
Fred, hello!
Who then we threw a curveball at everyone and had Robbie Roadsteamer, who's, you know, a character in quotations. I mean, there is Rob, and then there's Robbie Roadsteamer. But Rob does have Kowloon tattoos and the Saugus dinosaur tat. I mean, it's a mishmash. He's not. It's
the line
not,
gets blurred, Fred.
Yeah, it's not. You know, Mr. Bean or something. I mean, there is like a lot of real in that, and so we had him up against just
Sarge GPT says, keep the Kowloon out of your mouth.
So we took a chance there.
Yeah.
And Robbie won. And good for him. So Robbie and the Guy from Machine will be in studio on Monday. Thank you. And then, so Alcohol Guy from Machine, then Robbie Dada. And then we got to yesterday. Now, yesterday is the most difficult of all of them to do because both of these guys, I mean, Adolfo was on the show for 10 years. You kind of just get an update from him.
Yes.
And then Bird is always around. But the thing is they're both loved. That was the thing about them. So what are you going to do with the two of them? Well, Adolfo came on and Batcave this, and I like tarot cards, but then he pulled out Yu-Gi-Oh cards because cards was the most important thing to
Reading
him.
Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
He woke up with the word cards, just written in space above his head, and said, "This is what today is going to be about."
Yeah, I just can tell you what I'm talking about in 30 seconds. So I said, so how you doing with girls and what's your strategy? And he's like, oh, well, I'm into tarot card reading. And so I said, oh, great. Why don't you do a tarot card reading for Bird when he comes on the air? And he goes, okay, fine. But I don't have tarot cards. And I said, okay, well, you'll figure it out. And he goes, yeah, I'll figure it out. So we leave for 4.5 minutes, 5 minutes. We come back, and instead of Wikipediaing tarot cards or looking online for tarot cards.
Or just making something up. Oh, Bird, I have returned the Jester, which you might think means you're funny, but it actually means that you're sad and that there is depression coming your way soon.
No, instead he searched, and I guess Adam is saying you could literally see him doing it on Zoom. He searched his room for cards of any kind, playing cards or whatever, and he found Yu-Gi-Oh cards, which is interesting because the tarot card reading isn't so much about the cards as about the tarot part. So he just went, any cards will do, and that didn't go well. But here's a clip of them, for 1 minute and 40 seconds of Bird and Adolfo chatting yesterday. Boy. Bird, you be a young lady on the town.
Okay.
And Adolfo, you go up to Bird, and you're interested in Bird, and you say hello. Yeah. Let's do this. Go ahead.
All right. Hey, how's is your can I get your name? What's your name?
My name is Jamie. What is your name, young man?
Hi, Danny. I'm Adolfo. Nice to meet you. So, do you come here often?
Where are you from? I don't know where you're from. Where are you from? Are you an older brother? Do you have siblings? What's your family like? Oh my God! Like, where do you work?
Oh, you work fast. I got a brother and a sister. I'm from Texas, as you can tell from the accent.
I'm Texas.
Yeah. I fix phones. That's my trade. Yeah. How about yourself? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm from Boston originally. I am a school teacher. I teach kindergarten children. I teach them the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s. And on my downtime, I go to the gym, work out, and I like to watch sports. Do you like to watch sports?
Oh, yeah. I do like sports. I just got the MLB package this year, so I'm looking forward to some baseball. You know, ever been down to Fenway?
Oh yes, I've been to Fenway plenty of times. Maybe we'll go to a Red Sox game. Who's your favorite baseball team?
Yeah, let's go down to the next day game, huh? Can I get your number?
I can't.
Sure.
I can't do this anymore. I can't.
Oh! And as I draw,
stop it!
Why'd you stop it?
I can smell the lube in the air. All right. Well, you could tell. Boy, the way, what a well-formed female character that Bird had created there. A downtown living elementary school teacher that loves sports.
You put him on the spot. I will say when I blew that thing up, it was a direct line 50-50 reaction. People saying, "How dare you, Hardy? You suck!" and "Thank you. I've never wanted to thank you more."
I was comfortable with you ending that.
Yeah,
I was comfortable with that ending. The fascinating part to me is that Bird wouldn't let Adolfo finish. That it was like a very interrupting girl.
Well, in hindsight, maybe instead of just ending it, I should have asked Adolfo, "Now close the deal." You know,
It wouldn't have gone. I mean, it would have been a lot of the same. I don't think that we missed out on any great revelation.
Yeah.
All right, so that was up at Toucher and Hardy on Instagram, where our focus is now. I don't care about Twitter anymore. It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not breaking any news. So look for. In fact, I'm perfectly comfortable not having an Instagram page. So not a Twitter page.
Yeah.
So we're on Instagram though. That we want you to follow at Toucher and Hardy. So we had a big vote, and 150,000 people voted.
Wow.
Or thereabouts.
And
well, the numbers are murky at this point.
Well, they're gone now. I mean, the results are not online. So 145,000 voted. And Adam,
it was the of all the four matchups so far, it did receive the most votes, and the winner is Adolfo with 59% of the votes over Bird's 41%. So Adolfo moves on to the field of four.
Okay, so the field of four, we know Monday, Guy from Machine will be with Robbie Roadsteamer in studio, so that will be a lot of fun. And then Sarah from Everett will be in studio later in the week.
Thursday.
With Adolfo on Zoom. And then you have a female Adolfo dynamic, and who knows what will happen from there. Plus, I don't think Sarah's showing up. I don't.
You've been very adamant about this from the beginning, even though we scheduled her a long time ago, and she said she would come in more than once.
You could get that from the text she was sending Hardy. You could decipher that information from what she sent to him.
She's got 3 dog leashes in one hand. She's got the poop bags in the other. She's probably using like a speech to text thing on her phone. You got to cut her some slack.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, why would it make sense? Everyone who texts me is just gibberish.
She also here's something. I don't want to give away the surprise, but maybe we could do this very quickly here. She asked me, and this is the first time she's ever sent me an unsolicited text. Okay, so we only exchanged numbers here recently, so I could get her to be a part of this contest. Yesterday, a couple hours after the show, she said, "Sorry to bother. What size T-shirt does Nick wear these days?"
Ooh.
So
what a question, because he's so short, but he's so heavy.
So that I said, and I had my guess, but maybe we could all take a guess, and then Nick can tell us what the answer is.
Oh, okay. So Nick is 5'4", and he is
212 pounds.
205 pounds.
Low center.
5'4", 205 pounds. And it's not belly. So that's what's interesting, because if you're talking about a pants, you gotta let out that ass. Yeah. But for a shirt, I think he's testing the waters with a medium. I'm going to have to say this young man's going large on the people.
Okay, I said large. I said, now just for how, people like to wear things, I'm like, it could even be an extra large, but he's short. So I stuck with large. I said large was the T-shirt size for Nick.
And he's Nicky Two Shirts today, as Chip used to call Anthony. He's Nicky Two Shirts because he's got a T-shirt with an unbuttoned button-up. You don't see that outside of Home Improvement often.
You going medium or large?
Large.
Okay, large, Wallach?
Medium.
Okay.
Nicholas?
Usually it's a medium, but sometimes it's a large. It really depends on...
It's a large. That's like when guys say that they're 6 feet tall, they're 5'10".
Yeah.
Okay.
I also weigh 193 pounds.
Okay, and how tall are you?
5'7".
All right, so you're 5'6", 5'5.5".
200.
Come in here real quick.
What?
Come in here. Make your way in here.
You caught Hardy by surprise.
You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time to find it. You would think.
No, apparently not.
Oh, Nicholas, you beat the trombone.
Nicholas is here.
All right, come here.
Beat the trombone. All right, there we go.
All right, come here. Stand next to your mentor.
How tall are you, Fred?
6'2".
You are not anywhere near 5'7".
I'm 5'7".
No, you're not. And if he's 6'2", you're not a chance.
Well, then you're saying I'd be 6'5".
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd be lying about how I'd be shorting myself.
You're 5'5".
I am 5'7".
I wish you could see what I'm
hit
seeing.
his hip with my
All right,
hand.
at 12.
It was unavoidable.
12. How tall are you? 12. Am I wrong in this?
All right, come over to Wallach. Let's see what's going on with
All
Wallach.
right, how tall are you, John?
5'11".
John's being honest.
John and I are the same height. Nick, you're saying he's how tall?
5'7".
Yeah, you're 5'6".
No, he's 5'7".
Get out of here.
There's no
Steve,
way.
do you have a measuring tape in the?
Yeah.
Steve, how tall are you?
Steve's going to bring. We're going to get this settled. Steve's going to bring a measuring tape.
Good.
We'll
All
take
right,
care of it
let's do
after.
the
Well, I like doing it based on other people. How tall is Ryan?
Ryan's 5'8".
All right, Ryan, come in here.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Now
Play some speed. This kid's tracked. Look at how he moves. Look at him. He's like what? You stopped doing it right when I talked about it. Yeah. Ryan hustles. All right, here we go. Ryan's what?
5'8". No, oh my God,
Yeah,
you're not
get out of
5'7".
here. And Adam,
You're
stop trying to be nice so
5'5".
much.
Cut it out. Stop standing on your tiptoes.
I get a better. You know what it is, Fred? Is the angle was different when I was looking him over here with
because
John.
I think that you unnecessarily you try to be nice.
Ryan's got him by at least 2-3 inches.
At the expense of reality. If Ryan is calling himself 5'7", which is no great height, because again,
Yes,
we'd all
5'8".
be shorting ourselves.
Yeah.
So I said I'm 6'2". John said, well, unless you're taller than 6. Why would I say I'm shorter than I am?
No. He's easily 6-7 inches shorter than you.
Yeah.
Easily.
That's why I feel so dominant over him. Nick. All right, well, that was fun. We saw how tall Nick.
Large. Oh, wait a second. Steve's got the tape measure. Do you want to save it for the other side?
I don't
for the
know.
big reveal?
Well, we have Max on next, maybe. If Max doesn't
All right,
call
well,
in.
just measure him up real quick then.
No. Let's save it. We might need it.
I like.
We're
I like
just for 8:45 and
exactly.
9:20 and 9:40.
Well, let's just save a show. When nothing's going on, let's just have a show where we tease it for 3 hours and 45 minutes and then reveal it right before we
Nick's
get off
height.
the air.
Yeah.
We reveal Nick's height.
The start of the spring book maybe next week.
Absolutely,
Okay.
because obviously the tape measure would be there would be no foul. There's nothing that could go wrong there. No, you couldn't be off by any amount with the tape measure. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Max should be joining us. Max.
More Toucher and Hardy next on the Sports Hub.
hear more music in the morning?
Never had to knock on wood, but I never had it yet.
Oh, you said you didn't want to hear more music in the morning. Okay. Here's more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Oh, this is unbelievable, to be honest. To be one of the best defenders on our team at his age, the experience he has, and how he can still slide his feet and got all the little tricks to hold this, look here, this, like position himself, be able to switch onto anybody and sit down and guard is really like special. I think everybody would wish to have a career like Al and to be still playing.
Cedric, hi.
Hello, gentlemen. At 5 a.m. in the morning. Thank you for having me on with you.
And you show up, man. Not a lot of guys do that. You're a hard worker.
Not in San Antonio yet, Max?
No, not in San Antonio. That's tomorrow. They had a day off. Team had a day off, and they went golfing yesterday. A lot of people went out, and I was out by the pool. A lot of families came out on this trip. So it was pretty much a fun trip for a lot of guys. And the fact that they're winning too hasn't hurt anything at all.
So they all went and played golf, or they went to like Top Golf? What did they do?
Now you got them interested.
I think it was, it's probably Joe Mazzulla's staff, different people. It just depended who wanted to go. Went out on the course. I don't know how many players went, but I'm sure a couple of players went, and they had some bags with them when they left. So. So, yeah, I think they went out and had played golf, and I was out by the pool doing my usual, snapping my fingers, saying I wanted another umbrella drink. I was good.
All right. So you never picked up the game of golf?
No, I don't. People ask me that. I had one of my sons did, but for me, I think it'd be, I always hear about people who are golfers, and it said it would take a lot of time, and I'd like to be pretty good. And I don't want anything to take up that much time in my life again, like basketball did. So no, I never picked up those sticks.
How do you quench the competitive fire in yourself? Does that, because you're so competitive to get to the level you were in basketball? Is there something that you do that you feel kind of satiates that as you get older?
I play Scrabble online.
Oh,
that's what I love doing. I played thousands of games of Scrabble online with a Scrabble club, and just keeps my mind sharp. So I enjoy doing that, or just walking or exercising, something just keep me busy. But Scrabble mentally keeps me pretty sharp.
What's your favorite Q word to use in Scrabble?
X.
What?
X would be the word I like to use, but I like to use best. But Q would be QI would be my favorite. One QI is I think it's a measurement in the Chinese culture.
Okay.
And I'll use that if I use a Q, if I'm using the Q. But
if you don't,
X is my favorite letter.
There's a book about competitive Scrabble players in a documentary, and it's like this whole thing. It's like this major scene, and these guys are all brilliant. They brilliant in a way that they've completely almost memorized the dictionary. So you give them anything, and they have like these really odd like Latin words and stuff that they can use.
Yeah, but Max, I was reading a story about this kid who had burst onto this competitive Scrabble scene, and a lot of the older players didn't like him because he was not a traditionalist. He didn't have this full command of language. What he was more of like a math and gaming expert, and he would play very unimpressive words more for board positioning and blocking other players than he would trying to come up with cool words, for like big scores all at once.
Well, and that's and it just depends. I'm not that much, where I'm doing that, but I do have a Scrabble dictionary, and I just love the game. I love just the making the words and the strategies behind it. Sometimes I get beat. Sometimes I'll play somebody who is like that, and I'm like, damn, I know you're using the dictionary, and so I know it can't be that much fun. But I just like playing. I just have a good time, and it occupies a lot of time during my day. I'll play 4 or 5 games of Scrabble a day, and I play 8-minute games. So it's not like some of these other people who play, 20, 30, 40-minute games.
All right, here I'm going to get a pencil. Word Wars, Tiles and Tribulations of the Scrabble Circuit, a 2004 Sundance Film Festival entry. And the book is called Word Freak. Those are the two things. You would enjoy that.
I probably would.
The movie's only 80 minutes. So
I probably would. I would not. I wouldn't try to compete.
No.
And sometimes they'll show you that you can go in and you can observe other people's games who are higher level players, the people with the 1500s and the 1600 scores. The words they make are just incredible. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even think about that.
Nah, it's something to strive for, Max, as you are at the pool in the Southern California.
Look, gentlemen, that I'm up at 5:30 a.m. talking to you guys this morning. It's still dark outside. It's still freaking dark.
Yes, it is. Ed. We're aware of that. It's the same
about
thing
the
here.
time we wake up too.
Well, that's before we wake up. We're
I
up.
feel like I really feel like you guys right now, since I'm 3 hours ahead of you, right, or 3 hours behind you right now.
No, and we do appreciate it. Seriously, in all seriousness, we do appreciate you doing this.
And I appreciate you bringing up Scrabble, because the only other thing I was really interested to talk to you about, and I'm disappointed to learn you're not in San Antonio yet. I was hoping you had gone out to dinner last night and I could ask you about the sopapillas and ask you about...
That would be today. That would be today or tomorrow that Sean and I would... Probably today. Today is an off day. We'll leave here about 1 o'clock. We'll get into San Antonio. Probably lose an hour, 2 hours. We'll be there probably around about 5 or 6 o'clock. So probably we will do Michieras probably this evening about 6 or 7 o'clock.
Wow.
Anybody else, or is it just you two?
Yeah.
No, that's the time we bond, John. So It's just me and Sean and I. We do that once a year. We have our one bonding moment, and then we flick each other off after that. Get the hell out of here.
If Sean was happened to break his foot today and could not attend the dinner, level of disappointment.
Yeah, it would be a level of disappointment if he did that. Yeah, I'm going to get.
You haven't prayed for that.
One, I'm not really a drinker, and that's the one time I'm able to get like a couple pictures of margaritas, and they'll give you the gold medalist margarita, and I'm just strawberry and pina colada and all these kind of things they have. So I love it.
Do you mind eating by yourself in a restaurant, Max? Some people can't do it.
No, it doesn't bother me at all. I because I think now you're not by yourself, because most people are going to their phones and looking through their phones. I mean, how many times you've been with people and they're strolling through their phones? And
Fred's doing it right now.
You're like,
no, I'm not. I'm looking up information.
I mean, so I don't think we're never by ourselves anymore, like old school, just eating. But a lot of times I'm friendly enough to make conversations with people around me, and not that I'm going to their table, but at least just to have a couple of words.
I feel more than a little bit like a loser, but I'll be somewhere by myself on vacation. I'll go to Vegas, by myself to meet friends there. Once a year or so, but there are a couple of meals that I'll be taking by myself, and I get bored of looking at my phone, so I walk around with a book. So I'll be in a casino where people are having the time of their lives, bachelor parties and, guys out there on golf trips, and I'll go into normally a cafe or something. I'm not going into a nice restaurant by myself, but I'll take a book in there with me and sit down at a table and have a meal and read. And I'm happy, but I also realize I probably look like the saddest person on the planet.
Well, maybe a well-read intellectual prostitute can come up to you and you can actually fall in love. She'll actually be interested in you.
What?
She'll be like, this isn't like the other Johns.
John Wallach, we're going to do it. Loser.
Oh.
Do you think John's in position to call anyone a loser, Cedric, if you had to say that?
John's a very complicated dude, and I don't think that John has a lot of things that people don't give him credit. First of all, he married the lovely Mrs. Wallach, so he has a lot of us beat already. As the two boys,
boy, do you love her? Yeah,
he
does.
His life is full. John's life is full. That's why I think a lot of people would be envious of John if they had a chance to know John.
See, he's such a beta in that relationship, though. Do you find that she has too much dominance over him, Cedric?
Well, he does say that he would defer to her, and
He does defer to her.
I'm going to get married probably this summer.
Oh yeah,
Are you kidding?
Oh yeah, I've met his.
Oh, I thought your whole thing was you never going to get married
No,
again.
that's all changed.
I never thought I was until I met Miss Marie Moore, and she has Mr. Maxwell straightened up and going the right path now.
Look at you! Congratulations!
Wow.
Yeah, probably sometimes in probably August. I would think that, when I met her, that's the first thing we talked about. She said, "Are you interested in getting married again?" I said, "Oh, hell no." And 6 months later, I was proposing.
Yeah, because I was getting divorced when we first started talking to you again, and then you were like big on not being married, and I felt that we had that in common. And now I almost feel like subterfuge is going on. That now you've turned your back on our unspoken pact to never get married again.
My friend. I'm sorry. Love. Cupid's arrow hit me in the ass, so I don't even know what to tell you.
Yeah, well, listen, I got more than that hitting me. All right, look, do we have to ask one Celtics question?
No,
or can we
not
let him
really.
go?
No.
All right, hey, Cedric, enjoy yourself. Enjoy your dinner with Sean Grandy. I'm sure.
I will. I'm enjoying. I'll give you the Celtic word of the day. This team is playing great. When Jaylen Brown and when Tatum went down the other day, twisted his ankle. I mean, whole Celtic nation just went in a frenzy up in Sacramento. But he's walking around now. He's well, and I think he'll be ready to. This team is playing great right now, and I think this is the time that you want to see a championship team start to perform in the last maybe 10 or 15 games and playing together. And that's going to be a real cool thing going into the playoffs.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Cedric, thanks again for getting up. Hopefully you can get some more sleep, but we appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, girls, go back to sleep now. We're good.
Okay.
All right, Daddy. All right. Very good. Thank you. There you go. The great Cedric Maxwell. There's nothing to talk about with the Celtics.
No, they're so good it's boring.
They're playing great. Tatum's not hurt, and
yeah,
great. Okay, good.
Yeah, that's about it. I thought I was selling tickets, and no, I'm not. All right, very good. I bought tickets to Saturday's
Cardinals Red Sox.
A week from Saturday, Cardinals Red Sox game. I bought them good ones, like behind the dugout, and I can't go because Milo has a game. I think Milo has a game, so I'm trying to sell them, and I'm selling them cheap. But no bites yet. I don't know what I did wrong.
What's the weather like a week from Saturday? Are people
opening day is supposed to be bad?
80 degrees, clear day.
Yeah.
They're having free beer day there that day.
Oh, perfect.
So everyone should go.
Well, if anyone's looking ahead, maybe that's why there's an issue.
Well, you got to go. It's the opening weekend. You got to go to a Red Sox game, regardless of the weather.
55 and raining?
Yeah. Why not? Bring yourself a nice slicker. Come on, let's not go crazy. All right, there you go. We'll be back in just a moment.
Cedric Maxwell is an umbrella drinking guy.
Sports Hub headlines.
become an insider. Fantastic prizes. Visit bannerskitchenandtap.com and click on reservations to purchase tickets.
Whew. Okay.
Now were you? I don't know. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Racist, misogynistic history.
But it's in such a beautiful area.
Yeah, Augusta.
My mother-in-law gave me 2 books last year, both about the Masters. I read one of them. I started reading the second one, which has all these blurbs on the back of it. It's like, this is great. You get inside and you hear stories. And it is a detailed, round-by-round analysis of every Masters.
Oof.
And as much of a fan of the Masters as I am, it read like a textbook, and I couldn't do it.
There's a John McEnroe biography, and I was like, this is going to be great because what an interesting life this guy led. And it's his autobiography, and he breaks down matches against, like, Jimmy Connors, and you're thinking, no one cares. Like, this okay, like, I understand, like, you played, that happened.
Right.
Now,
like,
the
what about
saving
things that
grace-
we didn't see? And, the Agassi book is unbelievable.
He did a little bit of that, the Agassi book. In the McEnroe book, he talks about the Tatum O'Neal thing and the problems he had with her and meeting Patti Smythe and trying to play guitar on stage.
But
with
not
her.
not in enough detail. That book is exceptionally tennis heavy. Agassi's book,
Much more than Agassi's, yes.
well, yeah, because Agassi's book, and if you look at what sold more, I would imagine maybe 100 times more people bought the Agassi book, and they're at the same level of fame. Agassi had his meth addiction. He had his horrible father. He had Steffi Graf's horrible father.
Yeah, the two of them
coming together. Like when Steffi Graf's father met Andre Agassi's father when they started dating, the two of them almost like got into a fist fight.
Yes.
Or they might have got into a fist fight.
No,
one of the two.
It was almost, and Agassi went home and got drunk after that because he knew it was that bad.
His wig was falling off during a U.S. Open final,
Yeah.
so he was so concerned about the condition of his wig that he lost.
Yeah, and he talks about how much he hated tennis.
Yeah, because
Even
his
as a
dad,
pro, he
like
couldn't
his
stand
dad
it.
tortured him,
Yeah.
like, and how he's like this broken man because his dad tortured him. all
Agassi
this
grew
way.
up in Las Vegas, far, far away from the Strip, out in the desert. His father built him a tennis court to go out and play in 120-degree weather, and he made
He
a
invented.
tennis machine called the Dragon, which overheated, but he'd fire tennis balls close to him at about 120 miles an hour to make him practice returning
thousands of balls a day, and he
Yes.
would in the Vegas heat. He would have
Tortured
him out there in
him.
the desert. He would
Tortured
yeah,
him
he literally tortured
in the
him.
Vegas heat. Yes.
You know what Agassi's doing now? Playing a little pickleball. Watched it while I was on vacation. They had a mixed doubles match going
watched
on.
it?
It was Agassi, Steffi Graf, Andy Murray, and then some pickleball pro. And they were
a ringer. I'll tell you where that I was hanging out in Newport, down by the Tennis Hall of Fame, and a lot of they were hanging him in effigy, actually, Agassi, for his pickleball involvement. Because they're
I
like,
can
our
understand
beautiful
that.
game.
I know.
They don't even wear white ball hugger shorts.
That's right.
What are you supposed to do?
They've bastardized the beautiful sport of tennis.
I got to say, for as much as I like playing it, as a television sport, not great.
No.
Oh, I mean, don't. I mean, just, you're
Shocking
not
you
used
would
to
come
it
to
yet.
that revelation.
You're not used to it yet. We haven't talked to Monty in a while. Hi, Monty.
Hey, good morning, fellas. How's it going?
Hey.
Hey. So I just wanted to know, because you guys are talking about golf courses, Wallach, is there a favorite course of yours where you see an abundance of prey and you swoop down and grab them? Is there a favorite?
I think the answer would be Red Tail, no?
What?
Oh, he knew right off the top of his head.
What about that other?
They have plenty of gum and wrappers to make nests.
What about that other course you were telling Fred and I about, the Saskatoon Trail, the
Sassamon Trace,
the
damn it.
Saskatchewan Hat Company.
Sassamon Trace.
When John John gets all like proud of himself about the stupidest crap, and he was like, "Yeah, heading out to play the scoosh." And Hardy and I are like, what?
Sassafras.
Yeah, the sassafras. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, gonna go out and swing the wrenches at the sassafras.
Yeah.
We're like,
Great
what?
9-hole course.
He's like,
in
it's some 9-hole course. What the hell are we supposed to know about a 9-hole course in Natick?
I've played Sasquatch race, and it's fine, but I didn't know that it was a nickname level of playing the sass.
Yeah, he gets.
Did I call it that?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. It was funny. But and then it's one of those things like when John starts like rubbing his balls because he's going to his in-laws' house in Philadelphia. Like he gets, and then you go to the Dominican Republic and nothing. There's no excitement, no visible excitement.
Oh, but
every horrible thing you gotta
stick me in a minivan for 5 hours to drive to Philadelphia.
Oh no, he drove by himself. His family already went down. They didn't
fully
want
erect.
Yeah,
can't contain
Alex
yourself.
is in the big city, the metropolis of New York City. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Fred. Thank you for taking my call. Hardy, would you say you have good radio instincts?
Sometimes.
So like when last time like Fred was talking about Rich and how his show got canceled, like you diverted the conversation to like your golf tournament.
Well, this was not what you said into the call screener, Alex.
Well,
You said...
I told the other guy that I was going to bring this up, but yeah, I called.
Well, it didn't say that on the. What did it say?
No, that Nick is saying that
I
was
called
not
911.
You called 911 for what?
This guy like knocked over a trash can, like a city trash can, into the bike lane, and then he was yelling at this other guy, and then he walked up and he knocked over another one, and then I called 911, and they ended up arresting him. So I felt good, but also felt kind of bad about it.
I don't doubt that I've diverted conversations that you probably wanted to hear more of, but I would say in my defense on that one, even Fred didn't want to talk about Rich's show being canceled the day afterward. None of us really wanted to talk about it. It didn't seem necessary, like at that point. I mean, what was...
Well, Benjamin called, and that was when I addressed it.
Yeah, but we didn't, like, nobody really wanted to talk about it the day after it happened.
I don't recall you telling me not to talk about it either. There's plenty of footage of it on the internet, so you can go ahead and find that.
And also, good luck trying to tell Fred or any of us not to talk about something that we want to talk about. I mean, it's...
You just heard about this Masters nonsense for the last
right
10 minutes. Caller number 10 to the contest line, 617-931-0985, will score a pair of tickets to the first ever Masters watch party and Top Golf Expo at Banner's Kitchen and Tap on Saturday, April 12th. Head on down to Banner's for a day of premier golf experiences, delicious food, and plenty of chances to win fantastic prizes. Visit bannerskitchenandtap.com and click on reservations to purchase tickets. When we come back, Kendra Middleton, and we have our own Kendra Middleton historian and expert. And it might not be who you think, audience.
Blind Scott seems to be an expert on anybody who comes on the show.
Well, that's an expert in his own mind, his own theories that he concocts. But no, it's someone that's not necessarily in this actual room. But we have someone who's on top of what Kendra is up to. And we will, she had something go exceptionally viral. And we will talk about the pros and cons of that happening in just a moment.
over the Rangers. Wilyer Abreu's tie-breaking 3-run homer in the top of the ninth was the difference. He added a solo shot earlier in the game as part of a 3-hit day. Rookie Christian Campbell added his first major league hit as well.
I didn't know how I was going to get it, but I'm happy I got it. I mean, first loss to first loss. I'm happy to get it out the way and keep going.
Garrett Crochet allowed 2 runs over 5 innings in his Sox regular season debut. This season-opening 4-game series continues tonight. Tanner Houck will oppose Jack Leiter. At the NCAA men's basketball tournament, top-seeded Duke got 30 points from Cooper Flagg. They beat Arizona 100-93. They advanced to the Elite Eight to play Alabama. They had no trouble with BYU 113-88. Out west, Texas Tech was down 16 in the second half, 13 with less than 5 minutes to go, and they rallied to beat Arkansas in overtime 85-83. They'll play Florida next. They beat Maryland 87-71. And at the NCAA men's hockey tournament, BU scored 5 unanswered goals in the third period for an 8-3 win over Ohio State. They are through to the quarterfinals, as is UMass. They upset Minnesota 5-4 in overtime. Number 1 Boston College plays Bentley up in Manchester, New Hampshire this afternoon. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by 128 Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric. They're the company that finishes every job strong. If your home or business has a plumbing, HVAC, electrical, or drain issue that can't wait, you need to call 128 now at 888-CALL-128. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
To us, Boston pride runs deep.
I'm a Bostonian!
This is Boston's Home for Sports.
Bow, bow, bow!
98.5 The Sports Hub. What's the best way to listen to Toucher and Hardy?
Well, you're going to have to spend $40.
Cough it up, and let's get back to Toucher and Hardy on the sport.
One-hit wonder in rap history.
Okay, it's up there because I would say that this is the best
Ooh, you have
one-hit
it on
wonder in rap history. Give it a second. It actually you got to get through the.
Oh, I reminisce.
Yes,
Yeah.
T-Roy by Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
But I would say they had more than this. Because
know
Pete
that
Rock
they
and
did.
CL Smooth, yeah, they did. Well, Reminisce is a classic,
Yeah.
but they had. I knew it even from the beginning. But they had. Turn it down.
Okay.
They had. Sorry, they had. I had a dream. In the porn, under my heart, 3 crowns of pain. What was the destiny? She got the best of me. Maybe I should lick her with my 9mm. No, that wasn't them.
No, that's Nice and Smooth.
Oh, yep, you're right. Nope. All right, so anyway, Kendra's here. And I was teasing beforehand that Kendra Middleton has a historian on staff, someone who is on top of all things Kendra Middleton. It's not creepy. Man by name Ryan Beaton, and he's very uncomfortable right now. He's very uncomfortable.
How about that?
And it's nothing weird, and it's not like text between you. And I'm just busting his balls because I know it's making him uncomfortable. But he goes, "Did you know Kendra has this video that you got to see that has got like 22 million views?" And I go, "What is this video?"
Oh, I know it. Okay.
Me too. I know it.
And it doesn't even have her like face really in it. It's her in Ireland, and the soap in Ireland is on like a metal pole, and there's like a phallic soap thing. Phallic if you're really pushing things. And Kendra playfully puts soap on her hand. But like you can't see anything but her hand.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's not like Kendra's good looking. It's not like her being good looking. It's like her hand on this soap. And for some reason, it transfixed the nation. and I'm not BSing. Like 22 million people.
It had 10,000 saves.
Yeah, well, that's what Ryan was like. You got to look at the saves because that's like
the saves doing something for video for effect, and what one would do actually in practice.
I don't understand.
Never mind. I'll tell you during the break.
I understand what you're saying, but like,
Do you think what you did to that soap is what one should do in real life?
Oh no.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't know.
All right, good.
Okay,
No.
because we're on the same page. Okay, because it would be very painful.
Oh no, God no.
Okay,
Guys.
good. But my question is
I
this.
have been
Now,
with-
what specifically was wrong with the soap technique that should not be implemented in real life? I'm going to give you a hint. It's the wrist.
It's a lot of twisting. All right, so look. And that's
But you have to get like here's the thing.
with
When
this
you're-
soap.
You
right.
gotta get it off.
Kendra, we understand. Or what happens, Kendra? You don't have Kendra.
The soap
Kendra,
turns blue.
Kendra, the soap gets very angry. The soap has a very bad rest of the day. Kendra,
The soap leaves and then can't sleep.
the soap has to get to a computer post haste. Kendra, you don't have to do anything. First of all. Okay,
well done. No,
Thank
you're
you.
covered. Go.
There. So when something like this, because this went legit viral, 22 million views. So what? Other than comments, blah 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 blah. Like, do companies start like reaching out to you and going like, "Wow, you went viral. Do you want to like sponsor this product or something?"
No.
Okay.
No.
Does it like help?
Here's the thing. I canceled my Twitter Blue, so I don't even make money on that anymore.
But it was on Instagram.
It was
right?
on both, and I made $0 off of it on Instagram. All the views came on Twitter, so I didn't make a dime off that video.
Twitter sucks.
I have a
Yeah,
quick
it does.
question because we were actually talking about this in the meeting the other day about how hard it is to, and on the air about how hard. If you had still had a Twitter Blue subscription with those numbers, how much money do you think you would make
$10.
ballpark? Yeah, exactly.
You can't monetize it. That's
Yeah,
the thing.
I was
useless.
listening to you guys the other day talk about somebody absolutely bullcrapping that they had.
Yes,
I was
yeah.
listening to you guys the other day talk about that. That's not true. When I had that Game of Thrones tweet last summer that had 100 million impressions, like 99,000 likes, I think I made $21 off of it.
Yeah, when I talk about these things, I'm not fussy old man. Like, I would like to make money in other areas. Like, I'm not dismissing, as you guys all know, I make Instagram videos. I understand the importance of it. I understand these short form videos are in some way, shape, or form going to be a part of entertainment, like necessary at least to promote something. I get that. I'm not wagging my finger at it. I'm just telling you that from what I understand from corporate people, Twitter's impossible to monetize. YouTube rips you off, but you can monetize it. And Instagram's an easier way to monetize than Twitter. In fact, I have no use for Twitter.
Instagram has started screwing people, though. You have to,
because they will.
Well,
yeah.
your video has to be over a minute long to monetize right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And the chances of getting someone to consume a minute-long video are
Tough.
way less.
Yeah.
But it is interesting because, there's this new world, and I know it's not, but it's an evolving world of digital stuff. So when Ryan was like, "Hey, did you know Kendra got this?" And it's a funny video. When Kendra got
It was too funny not to share.
it's a good video, Kendra.
Yeah, I was in the stall and my friend was like, "You're gonna freak out about this soap in here," and I'm sitting there and I'm like, "What about this soap could I possibly freak out about soap over?" And I got out of there after 2 drinks, and I was like, "You know what? Hell yeah!"
It's too. Why no liquid soap in Ireland?
The soap there in general was weird. There was a soap like that, and then some of the places have like the actual bottle screwed into the wall, and you have to squeeze it.
Oh, they really want you
That's what
touching
I'm
it.
saying. I don't know what it is with hand stuff over there, but it's huge.
Yeah. Not here.
No.
No, anything but, really. All right. Well, look, it's good to know that can't be monetized. Did you know good? But does it get you followers?
Yeah, I gained probably 300 or 400 followers on Twitter from that. No, I lost followers on Instagram.
Why?
I
do you
lost
think?
a lot of followers on Instagram. I don't know, prude, whatever. They don't understand art over there.
They really don't.
No.
It's the death of art, quite frankly.
They were so upset about the technique. They said this is just garbage content.
I got a lot of comments and my technique was good, Hardy.
In certain circumstances, it would, but there would have to be other things happening. It's
Should I put water on the soap first?
Yeah.
Would that have been better if I just like splashed it over there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Then that would have not hurt.
Okay.
At that point,
That's my bad. That's on me. I should have known better. I'll do better next time.
Are you going back to Ireland?
Probably.
No. Did you enjoy your time over there?
Yeah, it was really good. I think I'm going to be doing, so this is kind of all, I'm leading up to doing a group trip where fans can get in on going somewhere with me. So that's kind of what all of this is leading up to.
And Daniel Muir does that. She's got that whole thing going, and she
Yeah.
was on Hillman, and she was doing she's great.
Yeah.
Everyone loves her. She does it, and there's an author that's doing that right now, Kat Marnell, who I told you to read, but you won't.
That's
Cat
not true.
Marnell.
I read a book you gave me already.
Okay, good. The Cat
We've been over this.
The Cat Marnell is taking. She took people to Africa.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing to get going.
I think
So-
Danielle went to Antarctica.
She goes
Yes,
everywhere.
She goes she's got a whole thing. Like, so she goes and she takes people like all over the world. She went to like Antarctica. She goes to Africa. She takes people all over
Thailand.
the
I
world.
think Greenland was the last
Go to
one.
Thailand while
Yeah.
you can.
Why?
Because I guess the whole thing is trading Thailand for the Ukraine.
Wait, what?
You haven't heard like that China wants Thailand. So the idea is that you would give Thailand China as a negotiating tactic to get Russia out of the Ukraine.
Well,
It's like a 3-team trade.
Yeah. Can somebody explain this to me in basketball terms?
No, I don't follow the game enough. All right, so is this exciting for you, this college basketball season? You have an Auburn onesie on.
I do, yeah. So Dan and I have been talking for. Did you say onesie?
I couldn't. It's a pullover, but yeah. All right, you and Dan have been talking about what?
Dan
How
and
the
I have
government's
been-
putting sand in the water. Go ahead.
Yes.
Chemtrails?
Dan is very much in
idiot.
on all of that.
All right, go ahead.
Dan is you guys talk about how I don't listen to this show. Talk about not listening to our show. Tinfoil lift shots is like a completely different identity than real lift shots. You guys should hear Dan talk about like all of the stuff in our food, which I don't disagree with him, but he's so far on the other side that
Because he knows.
yeah, he basically just eats like steak, eggs, and sweet potatoes, and that's it.
And look at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's lost weight.
He wears his yellow glasses, all that stuff.
Because of what? Why are the
he
yellow
doesn't believe in
glasses?
SPF.
Interesting.
Sun protection?
Yeah, he thinks that gives you cancer.
Huh.
So doctor. All right. So it's big copper tone.
Yeah.
All right. So big copper tone.
Big sunblock.
It's a scam to give you cancer under the guise of preventing cancer.
Yeah.
So every doctor, you're a female. Every female you wear a ton of sunscreen.
I wear sunscreen every single day. I wear tinted sunscreen that is like, you know how girls wear like foundation and stuff? I don't wear foundation. I wear tinted sunscreen.
Okay. So where did he get the information in your knowledge that sunscreen causes cancer?
I feel like Dan is probably really deep into Reddit, if I had to guess.
And the people at Reddit learn this information from whom?
I don't know. Dan,
Isn't it funny that the internet?
I'm not
like,
against Dan. I think that some of the stuff that he believes in is for real. But like tinfoil lift shots is a real thing.
What's an example of one of his more out there claims that you are now subscribing to?
That I have weak ankles because I'm a Pisces.
Okay.
Wow.
Why don't we shut it down?
This is every week?
Why don't we call the weekend now?
This is a man of the world.
You're mad at you asked. You can't get mad at me because you
He's not
asked
mad
me a
at you.
question and I gave you an
I'm just
answer.
done. I'm just done
We're
for the week.
kind of
That's all.
stunned.
That ended it.
Stunned is a good
So
way.
you
of
have
putting
weak ankles because of the time of year you were born.
Yeah.
And in that somehow in utero, based on the time of year you come out of the uterus.
I came back and I showed Dan that I rolled my ankle really bad last week, and he goes, "It's because you're a Pisces." And he goes, "Pisces have weak ankles." And I was like, you know what? I have broken this ankle twice already. I could subscribe to this.
From anyone else, that might be the start of like a fun, funny conversation, but he meant it.
Yes.
Okay.
And the thing that's disturbing Hardy, I think, is disturbing all of us and should be disturbing you is that like he's not alone in this.
Oh no, not at all.
No, like there are people that truly believe that they have access to information that is only they can discern. Like they're the ones that get it, which is a type of paranoia.
I
You
love
understand?
Dan, but like you know what? He kind of cooked with the ankle thing. That's pretty good.
What?
There's no cooking.
What is he cooking?
Well, he's
What is
eggs
it?
and steak.
What is it?
Sweet potatoes.
Yeah.
And sweet
Egg, steak,
potatoes.
and sweet potatoes.
He's cooking.
So the
huh?
vegetables are they are a tool of the government to do what?
I don't. That's a Dan question. I think that he's just all in on like the. I don't want to say that he does the just meat diet, like the. you know what I'm
Because
talking
the
about, carnivore
Vedic
thing.
culture is known as being very unhealthy with their lack of meat in their diet.
Is that true?
No,
They're
Not
very
true.
healthy.
Not true at all. That's the point.
Oh well, yeah.
And Dr. Atkins didn't die long before his life expectancy should have from heart disease.
Okay.
Oh wait, he did.
All right. Look, I like that you come in with that stuff
Thank you.
because it's really just
Don't wear
something
zinc; it'll kill you, according to Dan. That's the stuff that's in SPF that he's.
else. You know, zinc is in food. It exists in nature. It's something that is required.
I think you should call in
it's an
to our Saturday
antioxidant.
show.
So does water, but if you inhale enough of it, you die.
And melatonin, as we've learned, not melatonin, magnesium, as we've learned, is like fentanyl.
It's heroin.
Yes.
Heroin.
Yes.
He's been telling me to take magnesium, actually.
Oh, because that's good as opposed to zinc.
How do
This
you
University
escape
of
from this
Hartford
room?
is
How do you
really-
get out of this room alive every week?
I don't know. I walked in here and it smelled so much like boy. I thought
She's
I was
talking.
gonna
He's
pass
talking
out.
about Saturday mornings, but yeah, it
Yes,
smells like
not
boy.
not today.
I had a, I'm emanating a protein. I had a big protein shake.
And I put on a bunch of Axe this morning.
That would smell better than whatever is in here right now.
Well, Scott will come in, and you can wait for him, and then don't worry, it will smell
Everything will
delicious.
change for the better as soon as he gets here.
He puts on only a bottle of Drakkar every day. All right. Well, look, we have betting to talk about because I told you off air I've been following college basketball this season more than I've ever followed it, which means I'm an expert, much like Dan is on all things zinc. I am in college basketball because I've watched 20 to 30 games this year. And your Auburn Tigers are going to be going up against the Michigan State Spartans.
No, they're playing Michigan
They're
today.
going to go up against
Okay.
the Michigan. They're beating Michigan's
beating
not good.
Michigan, and
Michigan's
then-
not good.
But they're big.
It doesn't matter. That one of those 7-footers can't play. And the one kid that was supposed to be a lottery pick, now you'll notice, is not in the conversation.
I like your confidence.
Oh, Auburn's going to be. Michigan sucks.
Oh, I know.
Okay. All right. We'll be back in just a moment.
Here's the thing. You
Right.
got to get it off.
Kendra, we understand.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Going viral for putting her hands on phallic soap. How have you done in the NCAA tournament so far?
Honestly, pretty good. I had a good. So I wasn't here. I couldn't bet while I was out of the country, obviously.
Yeah, I was in Florida.
Yeah, so my first weekend was really good. I have been really careful about what I've been gambling on just because, this is where we are with basketball now. So this is where the good basketball is going to be. We don't see, some of these St. Peter's of old or, just some of these teams that shouldn't be sneaking into these Sweet 16s that kind of water down.
Well, basically, Florida's team is Florida Atlantic's Final Four team. I mean, they got 3 kids from that team on it. So, yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
just
the University of Florida, who a lot of people had going in, now not anymore. Now it's Duke, had them as the best team in the tournament. The most complete team is Florida Atlantic. I mean, they just poached them. All right, let's go game by game.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
I've got my app open and ready to go. Let's go.
So Auburn, Michigan. I'm seeing Auburn -8.5.
Yes. I think the number is probably a little too accurate for me to get any action in on. I have one game that I love and one game that I like. I just think that while Auburn is by far the better team, Michigan's huge, and Auburn's been really inconsistent over the last month of basketball,
Yes.
and that's kind of my fear, is that this is going to be what we've seen from Auburn so far in the tournament, is they're going to win by, 2, 3, 4, maybe some late free throws or something like that. I just think that this team is too inconsistent. And
Auburn's been pretty dominant, and that Creighton team they beat by 12 was a good team, and that Creighton team might be better than Michigan.
Creighton, I don't think they're better than Michigan, but that's the thing, is that it took Auburn a minute to get settled into that game.
All right,
and that's
because
what scares me.
The 7-footers that Michigan have, and they have 2 7-footers. One of them's a bum, and the other kid was supposed to be a lottery pick, and now that's not the case anymore. But you don't like that number. But Auburn's winning that game. You're aware of that.
Auburn is for sure
But
winning that
you
game.
don't like that number.
Yeah,
All right.
the number just feels a little too accurate for me, just because while Michigan is large, Auburn is way more athletic, and I think that that's where they're going to make their money.
Okay, then you have the old Michigan State game. That's MSU -3.5.
This is the game that I like. I like Michigan State to cover this number. I think that they win by 4 or 5 here. Ole Miss has had a season where they've beaten some teams at times and they've looked like world beaters at times, but they're just too inconsistent and the talent's just not there. This Michigan State team had a really good season, a really good end of their season. Not so much a good conference tournament, but I think that they are going to
They lost to. I don't think they were completely invested in that conference.
No,
tournament.
and they shouldn't have been.
I'll tell you this: Michigan State wins this game by 6 or 7. I'm extraordinarily confident about that. And then they go on, my dear, to beat your Auburn Tigers.
I don't believe that.
And then they're going to get killed by Florida. All right, but let's move on. You don't believe that, but do you like Michigan State in this game?
Yes.
Okay. Here's an interesting line based on the results from last night. Duke, Alabama. Duke -6.5.
This is the game that I love. I'm going to smash Duke so hard for this game. Here's the thing. I get that they put up a record number of 3-pointers last night. I think they shot 51 of them. I expect them to cool off. Alabama, while I thought heading into this tournament would be one of these Final Four teams, I'm just not there. I think them, Auburn, and then Tennessee are the top dogs that are most likely to get upset in this. And I think that Duke and Cooper Flag are just way too good to even... The thing is that Duke, the way that they play, they're not even going to let Alabama get those threes off.
That's exactly what they did against BYU. They said you can take anything inside. We're not going to let you shoot threes, and that's how Duke defended BYU, and that was... or not BYU. That's BYU. Wait, who did Duke beat? Duke beat.
You're right.
BYU. Yeah, that's exactly what Duke.
Don't second guess yourself. You got it.
This is the reason why the number stood out to me, though. Duke is laying the same number.
Arizona.
Arizona's it.
Alabama did that to BYU.
Oh yeah. But
Duke did it to Arizona.
Duke is laying the same number of points to Alabama as Florida is to Texas Tech, but with both Duke and Florida laying 6.5. Which team do you feel more confident in covering?
So I'm more confident in Duke covering. The thing about Florida, and Jay Billis has talked about this week, he thinks that Florida needed that last game that they had against, was it Maryland? No.
They barely beat UConn.
UConn, that's who it was. Jay Billis was talking about how they needed that game to win only by 2 or 3 just to kind of get Florida in check. I have Florida and Duke in my final, but the thing about Florida is that I think that they were playing the best basketball heading into this tournament, and I think that they knew that. and it got a little to their head against that UConn team. That was way more of a sweaty game than they needed. And so I do agree with Jay Billis. I think that was the reality check that they needed to kind of push through the second half of this tournament. I'm huge on Duke and I'm huge on Florida. Those are my two best teams right now, and I think that that's who our championship game will be.
I agree with you. And Maryland's a good team, and they destroyed them. Houston, Purdue, Houston's -8.5. Purdue, there's a lot of guys from a final team on that Purdue team. No Zach Edey, but there's veterans on that Purdue team. That's a big number. What do you think about that game?
I still am so hot. I think that this number, once again, kind of how I feel about the Michigan-Auburn game. I feel like this number is really accurate. Houston's by far the better team. They've been one of my favorite teams the last 2 seasons. I think they underperformed in last year's tournament by a million miles. I think they're ready to get right this year. I don't think that they're quite ready to maybe make a final, but they are a Final Four team for me, no question. I love this Houston team. I think that this number is way too accurate for me to get any action in on, though.
In Purdue's experience in poise is not a factor to you. I think Houston's going to win the game, but 8.5's a lot.
I don't think that this is the same Purdue team that we've seen
No,
in the
no,
last
it's not.
couple of years. The
No.
coaching is awesome, and I get the seniority take.
They're very old. Have you seen some of these guards?
This Houston team
they
is
look
just
like,
so athletic.
They play golf with Hardy.
But that's why I think that Houston has the advantage, is that Houston is so much more athletic than these guys.
Yes, and they're very aggressive. All right, Kentucky, Tennessee, who cares?
I
care to come on, make some money here. Let's go.
I think that this is probably the most likely upset this weekend. I think
Kentucky
that,
beat Tennessee twice during the season, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that this Tennessee team fell off, and they fell off so hard. Had it like maybe middle of February, I thought that this team was a world beater.
Well, they were number one for a long time.
I think that this could be, if you're looking for an upset, I like this. Don't love it. I'm not to the window on it, but this is going to be a game to watch for sure.
All right. So your Final Four is, as we've learned, Duke, Houston, Auburn, and Florida. You have chalk.
Yeah.
Which,
but that's fine.
Yeah. The Final Four will be Michigan State, Florida, Houston, and Duke.
You should have made a bracket.
I should have, and I would have been correct. I should have made a bracket in November. Kaboom. If Michigan State makes the Final Four, I do want credit for calling it in November, which I've not done before. It's not like every year I come in here and I go, Michigan State's making the Final Four. This was a once. And they were considered the 5th best team in the Big Ten going into the season. So I want everyone to recognize that. Please, if you could.
I don't understand why everyone is so mad at people like me, people like Dan, people like all the national
People are mad at
It's
Dan
true.
because he's destroying the country.
But people are mad that there's a lot of chalk in this tournament. But if you've watched more than 10 games of college basketball this year, you should know that that's what was happening, considering the transfer portal and NIL.
Yeah, Florida.
Don't get mad at people for actually watching basketball because you want more than this. That's not a reason to get mad at people, and people are pissed.
Well, the thing is, they shouldn't be pissed at you as gamblers, but Jay Billis is boring to say it's going to be chalk in the Final Four. Like, as an analyst, like, at least throw a team. Throw a 2-seed.
Well,
in there.
yeah, he had 1s and 2s in his Elite Eight.
Yeah, he had just chalked the entire Elite Eight.
But I don't blame him. This is
no,
the
I
year
don't
for
blame
it.
him either. But you understand that he's an entertainer.
Yeah.
He's not Kreskin. I mean, he's not supposed to be
But do
predicting
you
the
want to
future.
be right?
I'd rather have my guy be entertaining. If I was running the network, I'd go, can you not have chalk in the Elite Eight? Because it's not going to happen. So, what are you going to do?
But for me and Dan, like, it's up to, like, people, whether...
You and Dan are quite a pair. Everything is you and Dan this, you and Dan that.
But that's what I'm
Why don't
saying
you just
is...
marry him?
Oh, God, ew.
What's his sign?
Dan's also a Pisces, so he also has weak ankles.
Oh, thank God we found that out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, his birthday is St. Patrick's Day.
I have the ankles of a runway model from Milan.
You kind of do.
I have beautiful feminine
You
ankles.
have girly legs in a nice way.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
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 Have you guys
Gams.
seen...
No.
One of the first things...
If I shaved them, you guys bang me.
One of the first things Fred ever did when I came in the studio was show me his ankles, and he really does have girly ankles.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen them?
No.
Prop that leg up here. Let's go. Let's show
Because
us the
I know
ankles.
Kendra's proclivities, and I thought this is...
He does have girly ankles.
Okay.
I have long...
Look at him.
I'm a better man for having seen that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you agree?
I mean, it's tough. He's wearing like those quarter-length socks, so I really can't see the ankle.
You want me to take them off?
No, I'll wait till the summer. I'll wait till the summer and you walk anywhere with your flip-flops, you child.
I went to school in Florida.
I am with Hardy. I'm anti flip-flop. I make fun of Dan every Saturday
This
for
is
walking
someone who
in.
grew up in Florida.
Dude, Dan walks in here raw dog in the slides every I don't want to see your toes.
Because Nike, if you haven't heard, they cause leprosy.
What?
The Jordan brand.
Yeah.
Dan hasn't told you about it?
No.
It's Phil Knight's. He wants to give everyone leprosy. So they lose their feet.
And he tried switching to Adidas for a while, but that causes rickets.
Yeah.
So you can't wear that
Well,
either.
scurvy as well. That we know Puma. So what was I just talking about? So my legs.
Your ankles.
My ankles are beautiful. Oh, flip-flops. You don't wear flip-flops? Because
I wear flip-flops, but I get pedicures. I don't want to see your unmanicured toes.
Okay. Well, in Florida, if you've ever lived in Florida, even if it's for 4 years.
Oh, you wear flip-flops to church.
Yeah, flip-flops become part of your life. And I understand the snobbery of the Northeast and the flip-flop because I think I'd probably be in that camp if I grew up here and never spent time in Florida. But 4 years in Florida will change your mind about a lot of things.
Forever.
The ability of a man to kill. Mm-hmm. You'll realize that it's a lot more common than you believe. And 2, that you'll be wearing flip-flops.
You could feed an alligator to someone and they would never find them.
You've mentioned that on the show before.
Wait, feed someone to an alligator. I got that backwards. Sorry.
I was just in Port St. Lucie in Jupiter.
So well
in the
traveled.
Palm Beach area. Yeah, I felt really worldly. Went to a brewery pizza place that a listener hooked me up at.
I heard
me and my
this.
son on. It was
Yeah.
very nice. Oh, you've been listening to the show. It's about time.
Yeah.
All right, Kendra, how do people find you and you using your hand on soap and everything else?
If you would like to watch me play with soap around the world, you can follow me on Twitter at Kenny with an I Middleton, and I am at Kendra Middleton everywhere else. Follow me on Blue Sky because that's where the cool kids are.
What if you could get financing and it was just playing with soap around the world with Kendra and that was your
If
Instagram
I
page?
could travel and all I had to do was touch some soap for free, hit me up. Call me. I don't know what soap brands are out there. Locaton, whatever. Call me.
All right. Well, Locaton, you're on the clock. She's looking for corporate sponsorship. Thank you so much, Kendra Middleton. We will be back, and the week will come to a close. Here are the headlines.
friend describes himself in 7 words.
A guy in tights and a cape.
And Hardy with blunt honesty.
I am not known as Mr. Fun.
Toucher and Hardy continues on the Sports Hub. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
All right, we're Toucher and Hardy, and it is time for the stat.
Need
Michigan
to be watching.
State, yes,
7:09.
They got the first game of the night. That's good news. They had 2 games out late on the West Coast before.
A couple of emails, Fred. Multiple emails. Taiwan, not Thailand.
My bad. Yeah, I was trying to sound smart, and of course I screwed up.
Well, it's smarter than me. I hadn't even heard about Taiwan, so I couldn't even mix them up.
Yeah, the thing is that like the democracy in the United States is strong and believed not to be threatened, but the relationships with global democracy might change. For instance, the idea would be that the allies of the United States somehow shift in an effort to have more access to resources, which is believed to be dangerous because China and Russia pretty much dominate land-wise that region of the world. And if the U.S. was to, pull anything with Canada, that whole Canada Greenland thing, or start screwing around in Europe, that I don't know. It's what do I know? It's better than Pisces have weak ankles.
Thank you.
But it is a global political thought.
Something else here that we need to get to before we do anything else. Eric texted a photo of a beautiful wall that he was building, but he said, trying to finish this wall, but all I can think about is Nick's height. The anticipation is killing me. Nicholas, could you come back in the studio, please, and join us?
Oh, we're doing it.
Yeah, we're doing it right now.
Why
Nick
not?
claims to be
5'7", 5'8".
5'7".
No, you said 5'8".
Did you say
No, he
5'7"
said
or
5'7".
Okay, you said 5'7".
All right, so our engineer Steve was ready with the tape measure. I saw them measuring in the studio.
Kelly, can you come in and measure Nick?
Real quick. Won't take long. We need an impartial.
It'll take 10 seconds.
You want to do it live?
Yeah.
Because we have
doing it live.
Well, we have a measurement from earlier when Steve measured him. We had an engineer
But
measure.
Kelly's a reputable professional
Yeah.
who has no interest in shorting Nick anything.
Ryan will go and grab Steve's measuring.
Oh, if you have a meeting, Kelly, this might take a second. But Ryan moves a lot faster than Nicholas.
Did you see Ryan running down the hallway? That was
More importantly, did Nick see Ryan running down the hallway? Because that is something Nick cannot duplicate.
So earlier,
our great
Nick's-
marketing director Kelly is here on the spot. Will measure Nicholas,
who claimed he was 5'7", stood next to Fred, who is 6'2", and looked about 7 inches shorter.
Now he says he won't take his shoes off. He's got like a
no, you got to take your shoes
a
off.
Frank Costanza thing.
I don't think we want that.
Why?
He's not wearing any socks.
That's fine.
What's going on with you? Take your shoes off. It's not a measurement with shoes on. It's ridiculous.
You're making him put his bare feet on that floor
And
in
take
there?
the hat off.
Shut up, Adam. You really are a simp.
And take the hat off, please.
Empath. Don't make him put his feet on
I'm
the
like
floor.
cringing right now.
He won't.
Take your
There you
take
go.
your
All
hat.
right, here we
take
go.
your
Yeah,
hat.
I
off.
like
He's got his bare foot over the end of the measuring tape.
It
there.
legitimately
Gross.
smells.
Does it really?
66 inches,
which is
5'6", right?
5'6".
5'6".
Yeah, you're 5'6".
5'6".
Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks for being
And
here.
no one can question us because it was Kelly that did it, and Nick is 5'6". So take that, you son of a bitch. 8 inches shorter than me.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick.
I like how he had
Thank you, Nick.
sneakers on with no socks. And then
What?
Adam said it was mean to have him take his shoes off.
mean to you guys.
Oh, I thought you meant for him.
Oh.
Because you're putting his
that.
shoes. I'm like, what planet?
Well, then I had
are
to
we
lean
on?
into it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
5'6". Okay, that's
Which is well under the average. Which is average male is 5'7", correct? 5'8", 5'7.5".
I don't know the answer to that.
Well, the question had been put out. This is a true thing. Would men rather have a large penis or be over 6 feet tall?
It's the latter of the two. By a long shot, I would imagine.
No, the
Really?
penis length was the most popular.
average height
which
for
is really a really a punch in the face to me.
Quick AI answer. Average height for men in the United States, 5'9".
Oh, I thought it was 5'7". Nicholas.
Maybe that's worldwide. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, 12. Do you
We
want
cook
to
'em
do
big around
You want to do
here.
your plug first?
Yes, actually, this is interesting. This will be interesting to you guys. So, thanks to my friend Tom from the Musery, which is a great nonprofit up on the North Shore, puts musical instruments in the hands of kids that need them. He hipped me to a fundraiser for the Hamilton
All right,
Wenham,
Daddy-o.
the Hamilton Wenham High School Theater. They're doing this renovation project, so they're raising funds at a show Tuesday night at the North Shore Music Theater called Jake Ryan Flynn Being Alive. Jake Ryan Flynn is
Just
the
walks
son.
on stage and breathes.
It's the son of Mike Flynn.
Yeah, he's a very accomplished actor on
Indeed.
Broadway.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that kid was in the John Mulaney thing.
Yes,
yeah, he was
absolutely.
super talented.
He was in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So go see that Tuesday night. You
The
can go
movie?
to the North Shore Music Theater's website and buy some tickets and help out the Hamilton Wenham kids there.
So
in
what
the
is
theater.
Jake Ryan Flynn doing again?
It's a one-man show called Jake Ryan Flynn Being Alive. Tuesday night at the North Shore Music Theater.
And he is a Broadway-level actor
Yeah.
and performer. You know who I legitimately miss is Mike Flynn. I really got
Yeah.
along with Mike Flynn.
I never knew him, but I always enjoyed him when he filled in on the show.
He had the most realistic interpretation of playing in the NFL that I've ever heard anyone say.
He loves to, what was it, leaning into the pain of getting cut, that kind of thing?
No, just it's like every other job that during the preseason they'd be like, just stop bothering me. Like during games. Like, remember, when the try-hard guard, because Flynn was a center, and Ted Washington, was that the guy?
Ted Washington was the nose tackle. That's
So
the
Ted
story,
Washington's
yeah.
the nose tackle, and this guard, this kid, gets all hyper and cuts Ted Washington, and Ted Washington's wasn't gonna try in the game.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, this guy pisses Ted off, and they get in the huddle, and the whole offensive line's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?
I got to deal with this. You don't have to deal with
No,
this.
and we all have to deal with it. We don't want to try, and now we got to try. I like that it's like everything else. No one really wants to try. You're half-assing it. All right, what else? What do we got for Adam?
Well, we'll see if this is for Adam or not. International Women's Day Market. Now,
Well,
this
it's
is
all right
taking
for him.
place on Sunday, March 30th, my birthday.
Oh.
Join us at Timeout Market on Sunday, March 30th for a vibrant market extravaganza celebrating International Women's Month and the power of women to own businesses.
Well, I would imagine it's free with the expectation of supporting the businesses.
Will Adam 12 attend?
Yeah.
I say he will.
Yeah,
Adam?
he's easy.
Absolutely.
Okay. There we go.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes. What are you going to do to celebrate?
More than I did.
I don't know. Who cares?
I think that's
He's
exactly
going to
where I
watch
was at.
Michigan play for the Final Four on
My
Sunday.
daughter was actually she's got
Michigan State.
plans that have been screwed up because we're going away next weekend, and so she was going to do something on Sunday, but said, but I found out through my wife, she's like, but Katie's not going to because it's your birthday. And I ran down the hall and I said, whatever you're planning on doing on Sunday, please do it.
Yeah.
I mean, what
You don't need that guilt.
No, and what do you think we're going to do?
Already said
It
this.
don't matter. None of this matters.
Right. Wine tasting at the Urban Grape. This is happening from 2 to 5 p.m. Now, this happens every Saturday, and it's the after brunch from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Urban Grape in Boston, featuring staff favorite wine picks and small business pop-ups.
Well, he likes the small business part, but the wine ain't free.
Yeah.
That's where you're wrong, boys.
Oh!
Free wine tasting at the Urban Grape.
I'm a wine man.
But if you walk in there all rough trade with that mustache.
That's coming off tomorrow.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No,
saving it
the
tomorrow.
guy from Machine is coming in on Monday. You said you'd keep it.
Oh, yeah, I did, didn't I? Okay. All right.
And what the hell? You going to
Thanks
the
for
Met
reminding
Gala?
Yeah,
Like, what,
you know me.
now you got to shave?
You know me. I'm putting my tuxedo on.
Yeah, like
Can
what?
you imagine?
What an odd time to no. I got to shave tomorrow.
He loves scruff. He does.
Well, no, I just want to know if that mustache is still considered a rough trade.
Okay. All right.
Because the guy from the Village
You
People
just want
that
to use
had-
the phrase rough trade in front of the guy from Machine and see you.
Bingo.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
is that so wrong?
Yeah, it's like talking to a comedian. You want to say funny things. If you're talking to a guy from Machine, you want to let him know that you know some of the lingo.
I like scruff.
Well, scruff was when he says stuff like, "Can you go rough trade?" Like him saying rough trade.
Yeah.
I like those boys in leather.
Yes.
Hello, rough trade.
I like scruff.
That's like gay Stephen A. Smith.